Silence. The sound of silence. I wondered why I could hear the music in my ear. I'm like, why can I hear the music all of a sudden in my ear? I usually can never hear that music. Anyway, good morning, Oomph. Good morning, friends. Welcome to Wake and Bake with Lolo. I'm like, why can I hear this music? That's probably not a good sign. Anyway, good morning, happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Okay, can I complain for a minute? I know I do every day, but can I start off with a complaint? I think I slept funny, and I've never had this. You know how sometimes your neck is like weird, like you fucked up your neck or something? Well, I slept and I fucked up my sternum. I don't know how I did this. But I can't like lift my arms above my head and like my chest. It's like when I sit up and stuff, it really hurts. It was echoing. Yeah, I know. For some reason, it was on 2 channels. I really don't know why. I can't. This board does whatever it wants. Like I turn it on in the morning. I go to hit the show, and the board says, "Well, maybe I'll do something, and maybe I won't." So I clearly have to get a better handle on how to actually like audio engineer to some degree. Just no, hey man, perfect observation. No offense here. I am absolutely on your team. It was no, I need to know that because I can't tell because I only hear it once. So anyway, all to say good morning. I hope everyone's night was good. Good morning. You kind of like this? You like the 2? I don't know what I did, Neil. I don't know if I just slept funny, but I've never had it where it's like this part of your body is like what's wrenched. You know what I'm saying? No problem. It's like this part of your body gets wrenched, and I'm like, ah, man. I don't know. This is weird. I've never had this, but I'm sure it's just a, whatever pull, muscle pull, tendon pull. I don't know. I don't know what the technical terms are. I just never have had it in my sternum kind of area. And I'm like, what the fuck? My clavicles, I kind of fucked up my clavicles. Good morning, Dan. How are you? I'm complaining about my physical ailments this morning, Dan. I hope you're ready for it. R.I.P. Robert Carradine. Gosh, good actor. Was on Lizzie McGuire. That's how I remember him. So R.I.P. Robert Carradine. I'm not laughing at him. And finally, they're going to give $1 million to find Savannah Guthrie's mom, which is great because Kash Patel, I don't think Savannah Guthrie's mom is in Milan. Oops. You don't mean to speculate. I'm not a doctor. That's fine. I mean, I'm not asking you to be a doctor, so don't worry about it. I'm sure it's just a muscle pull. It'll work itself out. I'll put some heat on it today or something. I don't know. It's just a strange place to have that happen, right? Like it's a very odd place to have that happen. That's all. That's all I'm saying. There was good intel she might be at the bottom of a bottle. Wait, who? Oh, me? I'm at the bottom of a bottle? Wait, who? Oh, the Guthrie. Oh, Guthrie. Do they think the woman is still alive? I don't know. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, if it was my mom, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed, first of all, that there wasn't... Oh, shit.
Call the Subcommittee on National Security, Department of State.
Uh-oh, hold on.
To order. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Hold on. I'm not ready for you. Anyway, so all to say, whatever. Here's the thing. I just don't think that she's in Milan. So I don't know why Kash went to Milan, because you're not going to find Savannah Guthrie's mom there. That's all I'm going to say. Sorry. I wish they'd find her. And I don't know if she's alive. I guess I kind of doubt it, but I would never want to give up hope. If it was my mom, oh my God, I would be in the backyard looking for her. Like, I don't think, I just, you can clasp your hands behind your back. It's inflammation of the cartilage at the breastbone. That's what it is, Jay, because that's what I get. My cartilage is where the arthritis, my tendon connections and my cartilage is where I get the degradation from my type of arthritis. So that actually makes sense. Like I can't. That hurts. Oh, but yeah, it's the breastbone. I did something, and I'm gonna be honest with you. It may not look like I have arthritis, but I have really bad arthritis. Like to the point where I can't grip things in my hands. I know. I have a very old lady disease. And so it's really, yeah, it's a whole different level of pain and functionality. I don't have as much function. I can't lift things. I can't like carry things with my hands very well. It gets really, oh my God, everybody's starting. Everybody's starting. Okay.
Without objection, I seek unanimous consent that the gentleman from...
Okay, I'm going to tell you what we have. Hold on, because they're just not going to wait for us to talk about my physical ailments, which, damn it, that's what, we should have a whole show about what's bothering Lolo. No, I'm kidding, we shouldn't. I'm just kidding. If you carry heavy weight in front of you, it can aggravate it. Well, that's interesting because that's what I did. Now I know what I did, Glue Stick. I had to carry a very heavy box up 3 flights of stairs. And I knew it was bad when I was doing it. And I feel like that's exactly when I probably fucked it up. That's probably where I fucked it up. Interesting, because that actually makes a ton of sense. Just one show. Oh my God. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh my God. If you can clasp your hands behind your back. It's inflammation of the cartilage at the breastbone and rib conjunction. I mean, it definitely could be. Like, that's where it's just so weird. It wasn't a sunburn. No, it's not a sunburn. It's not a sunburn. I don't think I've been outside for a couple days. I love you guys. All right, here's what we've got for you this morning. I'm sorry. I'm so discombobulated. I apologize. I don't mean to like just focus on my ailments. That's not the name of the show. Okay, so let me tell you what we got. All right, we have Before the Whistle, assessing information sharing and security collaboration ahead of major events. This is the Homeland Security, and they're talking about FIFA and shit like that, the World Cup and all that stuff. So there's one, okay? Assessing information sharing before events, which, I don't know, it doesn't sound that interesting, frankly. They're going to be assholes. And then the other one is an oversight hearing from House Appropriations for the National Endowment for Democracy, which I'm going to be honest with you, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of a National Endowment for Democracy. Let's see. And then I think I have, there's others. I don't know why. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me just do this. All my tabs got screwed up. I had all my tabs open. Let me just also, boy, this is a real complainy morning. I'm so sorry. But I had all my tabs set for today, and my computer fucking won't restore the window. I don't know why, because it hates me. Let's see. Where do I have? I think I had saved some hearings on hearing down. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, wait. Fuck it, man. All right, here's what we're going to do. I know what we're going to do. I just want to make sure we're not missing anything really fun. That's all. Well, and by fun, I mean substantive. Let's see here. What am I doing? Okay, and then here's one I have. Let me see how this hits you. Bureaucratic delays and the cost to ratepayers and electric power systems. The reason that one sounded interesting is because of the power, like the power grid and stuff like that. So that's what, hi Sharon Brown. We're just deciding what we want to watch. So let's see. I've got the National Endowment for Democracy Oversight Hearing. I've got a planning for big events. So Homeland Security. talking about FIFA mostly. And I thought there was one more hearing, but of course it's not. Oh, here. This one is environmental challenges. Oh, for water. So there's a hearing about water too. Anybody have any preferences? Anybody have any preferences? Good morning, Sharon Brown. Good morning. I'm surprised these guys aren't all wearing Team USA hockey sweaters. Nice call. What's that mean? I don't even know. Good morning, Sharon Brown. Good morning, Sharon. Everyone's saying good morning, Sharon Brown. Oh dear, what nonsense. What fuckery are we afoot today? I don't know. Okay, I think I'm gonna make a decision. And we're gonna find out what the Institute for Democracy is. How about that? Or the endowment for democracy, which I think is really hilarious. I think it's hilarious that they do that. Okay, we'll stick with this. If it gets boring, then we'll go on to something else because that's what we'll do. I don't know best, but I'm guessing. But that's very kind of you. That's very kind of you, Jay. I really appreciate it. Okay, yeah, FIFA. This is, I'm going to do the National Endowment for Democracy just because I don't know what it is. And then maybe we'll go to FIFA after. We can do whatever we want. That's right, because we're adults. We could have ice cream right now if we wanted to.
National Endowment for Democracy.
How about that?
Our witness today is Damon Wilson, President and CEO of NED. Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for agreeing to testify here today.
What's NED?
It should be no surprise to anyone why the subcommittee's first hearing of the year is to discuss oversight of the National Endowment for Democracy. At this moment in our country's history, under the tremendous leadership of President Trump, our foreign policy has been awakened and strengthened in an unprecedented manner. And the work of NED is critical. It's a critical tool advancing the foreign policy priorities of the administration, including by defending international religious freedom in places like Nigeria, Nicaragua, and Communist China, and supporting those struggling for freedom in places like Iran and North Korea and Cuba, just to name a few. But just as important as the president is what's going to happen in the future, what may happen in the future. Foreign policy changes from one administration to the next. We know that happens. Yet the work of NED remains consistent. As many of you know, I'm a strong proponent of democracy and of human rights and of promotion of those things as a fundamental part of our foreign policy and our national security. Towards that goal, the NED and accountable democracy programs in general are essential to countering adversaries, advancing American national security interests, and standing with those struggling for freedom, regardless of who is in the White House. Now, NED was Ronald Reagan's idea, and was founded through an act of Congress in the 1980s to counter the then evil empire of the Soviet Union. From its inception, it has enjoyed strong bipartisan support due to its uncontroversial mission of promoting freedom, often within our most dangerous adversaries. Now, obviously, it worked pretty well, right? As most of Eastern Europe is made up of free, independent countries that are among some of our closest, strongest allies. So while the Soviet Union no longer exists, threats to freedom and our security remain, and frankly have evolved significantly since then. NED has adopted to be responsive to those emerging trends and threats. They work in some of the most dangerous and adversarial nations like Iran, like China. They've also been laying the groundwork for peace and stability in places like the South Caucasus, which provides an opening for initiatives like the Trump route for international peace and prosperity, connecting Armenia and Azerbaijan. Man,
You don't know how to fucking say that? You're fucking
easy for me to say. That's right. So yes,
Yeah, if I was
Let's be
the
clear.
Dalai Lamas, that's a lot
Ned
of
has made
suffering
mistakes
for
in
the
the past.
scheduler of the Dalai Lama.
but to Ned's
right?
credit, they are
Where are the monks
extremely
now?
responsive and
Are the
quick to
monks still in
recognize
DC?
and rectify those mistakes. For example, when they found a problematic issue with a grantee, they resolved it in a matter of days. They canceled it outright, and got the money back. I wish that every other federally funded organization was that swift and that responsive to Congress and to when they make mistakes. So part of that responsiveness is the close engagement between NED and the United States Congress. We continue that today with this oversight hearing to ask the tough questions and make sure that NED is carrying out its work, which is so critical to furthering U.S. national security interests. Mr. Wilson, again, thanks for being here. I look forward to discussing these critical issues with you further. Let me now turn to my Florida colleague and friend, the ranking member, for her opening statement. You're recognized.
Thank you. Well, I want to start by, first of all,
It's
good to
good
be with
with,
you. I was a
chips.
little late because I was picking up an award from my chairman, which I'm going to present to you right now, from Malaria No More. We're fighting malaria together here.
Great. Thank you.
Enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's cool.
And I'm glad I learned.
I'm not going to take any of your time for that.
No. Well, I learned about the Trump route from you today. Okay. So, thank you. This is a very, mostly bipartisan committee, and we're very collegiate, and it's a pleasure. And thank you for being here, Mr. Wilson. So, this hearing is really, I know we're going to talk about your organization, but it's more than that. It's whether the United States will continue to lead with strength, transparency, and principle in supporting democratic institutions and defenders around the world. Supporting the National Endowment for Democracy is one of the ways we carry out this mission. And thank you for your leadership. The NID was created by Congress, as my colleague has said, in 1983 during the Cold War, at a time when Congress made a deliberate choice. If the United States is going to support democratic movements abroad, we should do it openly, transparently, and through civilian institutions, not covertly. And the NED was designed to strengthen the institutions that now allow societies to resolve conflict peacefully, free and fair elections.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. We do have a few other things, and I just want to make sure, because one of them sounds, there's a small business one. There's a SCOTUS case, but it doesn't, I don't know, it's an oil case. I'm not sure if it's one. Yesterday was something too, but we didn't. Let's see. That's the whistleblower one. There was one more on, oh shit, come on now. Come on now, come on now, come on now, come on now. What the fuck, where'd it go? Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, advancing national security through commercial diplomacy. It's
Sure.
the
And last week,
I'm
we
gonna show
launched
it.
a concierge.
Damn it, shut up. I know, I should, see, this is why I can't. I should prepare ahead of time. Okay, so this is the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Advancing national security through commercial diplomacy. I'm not sure if I know. I'm not sure. All of them sound kind of. Hi, Dean. How you doing? We're trying to decide what to watch. I think I'm going to go with the House Foreign Affairs. Nah, I'm not going to. Homeland Security. Let's do this one. Fuck it.
Missouri, Mr. Alford be permitted to sit with the committee and ask questions of the witnesses.
I'll try that one.
Purpose of today's hearing is to assess the information sharing environment and the security operations among our federal, state, local, and non-government partners ahead of a record number of major national events. Chair reminds all members that the chair will enforce the rules of decorum at all times and urges all members to be mindful of their remarks. I now recognize myself for an opening statement. Good morning. I want to start by thanking our witnesses for appearing before the committee today. The United States is preparing to host a mega decade of mass gathering events starting this summer with the 2026 FIFA World Cup and nationwide celebrations to mark the 250th anniversary of our nation. These events are an incredible opportunity to showcase the best of America, but they also will also require unprecedented collaboration between leaders at the federal, state, and local levels to secure the events and keep the public safe. Today, we will hear directly from some of those leaders about the security preparations already underway to ensure that we already meet this moment. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be held throughout North America in June and July and will include more than 70 matches played in 11 different cities across the United States. With 5 million fans traveling to the U.S. and as many as 6 billion viewers expected worldwide, this will be the largest sporting event in history. Same time, America 250 celebrations will be held in communities across the country this summer to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Recognizing the years of planning that have already gone into these efforts, the committee established its
You know, if there is a God, they've got a huge fucking sense of humor. That this would be the 250th year. I would just mean. Here we go. Dean says, I just found out a fun fact. 86% of all frozen fries USA consumes comes from Canada? Oh my God. I'm telling you, we're very Team Canada in this chat, Dean. You're among friends. We have a lot of Canadian loungers. I'm telling you right now. In fact, I was rooting for the Canadian hockey team. So there you go. You've come to the right place. But that's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for the frozen fries. No more fries for you. That's right. 250, such a natural and unforced milestone. Yeah, right. It's true. Yeah. Hey, wait. Grace Lisa has a very important question. Dean, does that include tater tots? Or are we just talking straight up fries? And I'm assuming hash browns are off the table, right? That's a good one, Dean. Thank you so much for that.
Task Force on Enhancing Security
Thank
for
you for the
Special Events in
fries.
the United States last spring to ensure continued prioritization of these events by Congress, federal agencies, and state, local, and private sector partners. I want to thank the Task Force Chairman, Mr. McCall, and Ranking Member Ms. Poe for their leadership, and all members of the committee for their consistent engagement on these security preparations through the many briefings, hearings, and roundtables that have convened. Over the last year, Congress has taken concrete action to ensure the United States will be well-equipped and well-prepared for the months and years ahead. I'm proud of the role that this committee has played and will continue to play in moving these critical priorities forward. One of the greatest security risks facing our nation today is the malicious use of unmanned aircraft systems or drones. The prospect of weaponized drones being used to attack mass gatherings in open-air stadiums is a scenario that keeps policymakers and law enforcement professionals up at night. In response to these threats, I was proud to work with the Trump administration and lead efforts to pass vital counter-UAS authorities for state and local law enforcement in the 2026 National Defense Authorization Act, which will help support real-time mitigation efforts and counter the adversarial use of this technology. Republicans in Congress also provided historic security investments through the enactment of the One Big Beautiful Bill last summer, which included $625 million for the 2026 FIFA World Cup security and $500 million for state and local investments in counter-UAS capabilities. As we approach the 25th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks later this year, this solemn milestone reemphasizes the importance of our collective mission in the face of constantly evolving threats. The Department of Homeland Security and this committee were both created after 9/11 to ensure that a similar attack on the United States would never happen again. In just the last 3 months, this committee has heard directly from Secretary Noem and leaders from several DHS components, including TSA, CBP, and CISA, whose agencies will play critical roles in safeguarding these events. 25 years later, the threat landscape has not diminished. It has intensified, diversified, and evolved in ways that demand constant vigilance and decisive action. But DHS and the federal government cannot achieve this mission alone. Close collaboration, communication, and information sharing between federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial governments, along with industry stakeholders and private sector partners, is essential. These games and festivities designed to bring people together in joy and celebration also present an array of targets for nefarious actors who seek to carry out violent attacks or exploit these gatherings for other illicit purposes. It is not an even playing field. The dedicated men and women who protect our communities every day must overcome these threats every single time. Those who seek to inflict harm only need to be right once. But that doesn't mean we give up. It means we must be prepared. Jersey, Ms. Poe, for her opening statement.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning. Good morning to all. Thank you so very much, Mr. Chairman, for calling this very important hearing. And welcome to our witnesses. I want to thank you for your valuable testimony that I know we're all going to be receiving from you today. I am stepping in for Ranking Member Thompson, who will be joining us momentarily. I serve as the ranking member of this committee's task force on enhancing security for special events in the United States. Our task force has a deeply important mission as our country prepares to host some of the world's largest gatherings and celebrations over the next 3 years. Events like the 250th anniversary of America's founding, the 78 matches of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games will put the United States on display for the entire world to see. I am particularly proud that the final match of the 2026 World Cup will be held in my district in northern New Jersey. And while the hospitality and the camaraderie of these events are exciting, it is essential that we ensure the safety and security of these mass gatherings. Both Congress and the executive branch have a responsibility to make certain that our state, our local, tribal, and territorial partners have all the resources that they need to get the job done. That is why today's hearing is so very important. While conducting oversight as ranking member of the task force, I have seen firsthand how this administration's actions are jeopardizing our security preparedness. Over the last year, the Trump administration has dismantled security cooperation at all levels of government, reduced counterterrorism personnel and resources, politicized FEMA funding and grants, and has openly refused to work with states run by Democratic governors and elected officials. Now, the Trump administration is choosing to withhold $625 million in security funding that Congress has already appropriated for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. This is money meant to help cities and states keep their games safe. These funds are just sitting there, collecting dust, waiting for FEMA approval and to be dispersed. States, host cities, and local law enforcement are begging FEMA to release this money to be able to prepare for and secure the World Cup Games. The time for action is short. This isn't competency, it's chaos. I urge my Republican colleagues to join me and my Democratic colleagues in calling for the administration to release these funds now. These communities must have the resources needed to ensure the events are safe for everyone. And as we go forward, we must keep in mind that it's not just stadiums and parking lots we must protect. It is fan festivals, entertainment districts,
Marcia wants to rile you
bars,
up,
and gathering
and
spaces
that's her
where
only job,
countless
is to
people
rile
will
people
be
up.
celebrating.
That's it. She doesn't have any
Still,
other job.
New Jersey will do whatever we can to provide safe and fun
And
activities
you can just
for the
remind
World
her
Cup.
that her
and
state
in doing so,
is really,
we will
really
ensure
not
that
doing
all
well for
people
its citizens, and that's her
spaces
fault,
are
'cause she's a Russian
adequately
agent.
protected. And I want to be clear, everyone deserves to be free and safe at the upcoming games. Whether it's my constituents traveling from Patterson to East Rutherford,
I should
or
say she's
fans
probably bought and
arriving
paid for
from
by a lot of
the
foreign
other
interests.
side of the
Let's
world.
put it that way.
All fans and players deserve to enjoy the games and know that our federal government is doing everything imaginable to make these events safe and secure. I have repeatedly stated concerns about Secretary Kristi Noem's out of control and unlawful enforcement actions. We all seen DHS violent immigration tactics, which were especially apparent during the recent outrageous operations in Minnesota. DHS personnel killed to American citizens and harmed countless others. So when Director Lyons refused to rule out conducting ICE enforcement at and around the World Cup event, when I asked him this very question, chaos ensued. Countries have issued travel advisories. Groups and businesses are raising alarms. Residents and fans are expressing fear for their safety. All while local officials report minimum communication by ICE about what exactly it plans to do. These tactics pose an unacceptable risk not just to Americans, but all foreign visitors seeking to enjoy the World Cup and other events. Make no mistake, security planning cannot succeed amid complete uncertainty, opaque planning, and unilateral decision-making. We need to explore these issues further and conduct real oversight of DHS out-of-control immigration enforcement policy to ensure the World Cup is safe for everyone. I have seen firsthand the amazing work that men and women at the state and local level are doing to make these the most secure games we ever seen. Fusion centers in New Jersey are working. Police departments in my districts are planning. Governor Sherrill's office are coordinating together. These are groups that are getting ready before the first whistle blows. The question is whether or not DHS will do the same. This committee has the responsibility to ensure that Homeland Security's policy is not driven by politics or retaliation, but
Okay, yeah, I'm just going to say something. Maybe 5 years ago, this speech would have hit harder. But, and I'm not picking on her in particular, but she's endemic of what is happening in some of these hearings. Be more clear, because the American people are not going to listen to your fucking diatribe, cunt. I am so mad at the Democrats for not understanding how to communicate to voters. And they focus on this antiquated positioning and, kind of framing, right? They're framing something. And I'm sick of it, because if you want the American people to support what you're advocating for, you have to be more clear. And nobody is going to watch these hearings unless you are more clear and to the point. Because I just basically fell asleep and couldn't tell you, except for the fact that she thinks cops are great. I can't tell you what the fucking substance was that she was there for. And this, we have no time for this anymore. We have no time for it. So get to the fucking point, lady. All right? Get to the fucking point. And be clear and concise in your language to drive home the points that you're trying to drive home. The flowery language of yesteryear is gone. It got us here. I'm just like, I guess my patience is at an end for anybody who's acting like, oh, this is like, 2000 and whatever, 2021, where we could just give these little speeches and then everything's fine. But you know what? You haven't done your job, lady. Again, I'm sorry to pick on her, but I mean, my point is that you really, I feel like in these congressional hearings, there's only a few people who really know how to drive the points home in ways that make sense to the American public. And guess what? What she said is never going to go farther than this broadcast and their broadcast and whoever else might be streaming it. But I kind of doubt anybody's streaming it in great numbers. Yeah, back in 21 when it all looked rosy. Oh, we're done. We got a normal president now. We're done. You know, that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that there's a real need right now for very clear communication to voters about what the threats are, what we should be thinking about, what we need to be worrying about. I mean, these people can help us decide what to worry about. You know what I mean? Like, they can help us prioritize what it is we should be worrying about, you know, just by kind of like, you know, whatever. So I don't know. I'm just like, maybe I'm just in a bad mood, but I just need people to be really kind of clear and concise and really like get your the only way, lady, that you're going to get your message out farther than my show with its 15 viewers is going to be if you fucking do something that you need to, that, you know, do something, say something meaningful that can get picked up by press. I understand that shouldn't be the job of a congressperson, certainly not in these settings, but here we are. Here we fucking are. Worry about venal, stupid congresspersons. Yeah. I know. I don't know.
By risk assessment, operational realities, and federal and state coordination. Because when millions gather in my district in New Jersey or Miami or Kansas City, the American people will not care about the interagency turf battles or grant paperwork backlog. Americans will expect that their government works together because security is a shared responsibility. But leadership starts at the top, and it is time for DHS to lead. I look forward, Mr. Chairman, to hear from our witnesses today and about how we can ensure that this agency can improve and do just that, because time is really running out. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Other members of the committee are reminded that opening statements may be submitted for the record. And I'd like to formally introduce our witnesses. Mr. Mike Sina serves as president of the National Fusion Center Association and executive director of the Northern California High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area and the Northern California Regional Intelligence Center. He brings 28 years of law enforcement experience, including serving as the veteran investigator at the state and local level. Mr. Ray Martinez serves as the chief operating officer of the 2026 FIFA World Cup Miami Host Committee. He has 35 years of law enforcement experience, beginning his career in 1979 at the Miami Police Department, where he rose to the ranks from police officer to assistant chief of police. He later served as assistant chief
the flight from Miami
and subsequently
to DC.
chief of police for the Miami
What
Beach
the fuck's
Police
wrong with
Department.
him?
A limited exception was made today due to unforeseen circumstances and inclement weather disrupting travel to allow Mr. Martinez to appear before this committee
Okay.
virtually.
Thank
Without
you.
objection, I will enter into the record 2 letters, the first requesting this exception be made under the circumstances, and the second from the majority leader permitting this virtual testimony today. I appreciate. Yep.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm not letting him get away with anything
Gentlelady is
today.
recognized.
I'm reserving the right to object. Mr. Chairman, I will not object, but I would like to get your assurance that witnesses invited by the committee Democrats will be afforded the same opportunity to participate remotely in committee proceedings. On behalf of the ranking member Thompson, can I get your commitment to work with our side in the future when remote participation is required by our witnesses?
Yes, and I will, as I was saying, this was a very limited exception. It is in the rules, and it was a very difficult lift. I'm happy that the majority leader agreed. Took a lot of convincing, but because of the weather and the gentleman not being able to make it up here, we were granted this very late last night to allow him to do this. So I will work with you if same situation arises. You have my word. I will do what I can to get the same cooperation from the majority leader in the future. Again, but as I was told by the majority leader, this is a very limited circumstance due to the weather that and how DC doesn't really know how to handle a snowstorm, which we didn't get anyway. But I will do my best in the future. You have my commitment.
Jane, you're so
Chairman,
kind.
although it is 55
Yeah,
degrees
I know.
in Florida, I might add.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure Mr. Martinez
Sounds
just didn't want to
like-
come up and leave the beautiful weather that's down in Florida. We should have done a field hearing down there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And so I do appreciate the
Karen
majority
Diggs.
leader's
That's what I
willingness to
mean.
grant this rare exception in order to ensure the committee can hear Mr. Martinez's valuable and time-sensitive testimony as the beginning of the World Cup games are only months away. Deputy Chief Joe Mabin serves as commander of the Patrol Bureau for Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. He previously served as interim chief for the police and deputy chief of the Investigations Bureau. He has progressed steadily through the ranks, serving as sergeant, captain, major, and ultimately deputy chief, with nearly half the department's personnel under his command. Mr. Travis Nelson serves as the deputy chief of staff and Homeland Security advisor for the Maryland office of the governor, officially assuming the role in June of 2025 after serving as acting director for over a year. He has over 20 years' experience in the public safety, emergency management, and law enforcement, including 19 years with the Maryland State Police. Thank all the witnesses for being here today. Pursuant to Committee Rule 8C, I ask that the witnesses please rise and raise their right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give before the Committee on Homeland Security of the United States House of Representatives will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Let the record reflect that the witnesses have all answered in the affirmative. Thank you very much, and please be seated. I now recognize Mr. Sena for 5 minutes to summarize his opening statement.
Chairman Garbarino, Ranking Member Poe, and members of the committee. Thank you for the
like
opportunity
that?
to
Do you like
testify
my
today.
title?
My name is Mike Sena, and I'm the president of the National Fusion Center Association, which represents the 80 designated fusion centers across America. Fusion centers are the backbone of the Homeland Security Information Sharing Enterprise. Every day, over 3,200 analysts and officers from every level of government work side by side with the private sector to identify threats, share intelligence, and coordinate operations. During major events, we collaborate with real-time crime centers, high-intensity drug trafficking areas, regional information sharing system watch centers, intelligence commanders with the major county sheriffs and major city chiefs, the U.S. Attorney's offices, the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Forces, the Homeland Security Task Forces, and the Center for Internet Security to ensure actionable intelligence reaches decision makers. 2 weeks ago, we wrapped up security operations at Super Bowl 60, which happened to be in my area of responsibility. I want to share a few examples of how we worked together and how things played out in real time and why it is so important for Congress to continue supporting us. In Sacramento, law enforcement mitigated a potential drone threat to the Super Bowl based on a tip from the Central California Intelligence Center days before the game. The night before the Super Bowl, CISA and DHS-INA briefed our team on the passenger rail sabotage threats that occurred the previous day at the Winter Olympics.
Sacramento is like 3 hours drive from Santa Clara where the game was played. Okay? Like, I don't think you can fly a drone. Maybe I'm wrong. Actually, I mean, maybe Palmer Luckey could fly a drone from Sacramento to Santa Clara. Sure. But I don't think this is, yeah, I don't. Oh, no, you put salt in your, oh, I'm sorry. Your coarse salt. Well, actually, just put some sugar in, and then you have like that salty sweet. I love it. Kettle oatmeal. Should we play Sodu Bingo tonight with different cards picturing it? It is nuts. Well, we can. We need to talk about Sodu and whether I want to steal someone's broadcast. And I don't mean steal. I mean just I want to restream someone's restream of the Sodu so there's only one view. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure out. Nobody has put up like a placeholder that I know would be okay with me like restreaming them, streaming it. So I'll play it by ear, but I'm going to talk to you guys in Discord about it and get your opinion on what you want. Because I don't want to give a view to the Sodu. At the same time, I want to hear what he says, which I could do on my own and just watch repeat, tapes of it. But I kind of want to, I don't know. So we could do whatever. I mean, it is our documentary night, so, there's that too. So I don't know. I'm betwixt and between. So I need a little bit of input from y'all. But I really would. At one point, I'm gonna listen to it just because I parse his words. That's all. That's just my kink. The radio doesn't track engagement. Maybe we could just get like an audio, or at least the analog one with the knobs. Let's get that. I'll just hook it in. I just don't want to notch up the viewing. Exactly, Teresa. I don't want to have a positive impact on the viewing. So, yeah. if we're complaining about it at the same time, it's tolerable. Yeah, I mean, I'm just interested in how he's going to parse things. That's all. I mean, it's just it's a kink of mine. It's a linguistics kink. I know. Oh, R.I.P. Radio Lolo. That's okay. That was our first attempt. I'm not giving up. I did still make it sweet, but damn, it was super salty. I don't know. I love salt and sweet in oatmeal, but that's me. I put a lot of butter in my oatmeal, which I guess defeats the entire purpose of the oatmeal. But it tastes so good. Anyways. So anyway, we can talk about that in Discord, but that's kind of where my thought process is right now. Anyway, he might poop his pants. Yeah, exactly. You don't know. It could be something really good. What if he throws a clot and we're not watching? Okay, what about that? I'm kidding. I don't want anyone to... I have the fart noise ready. Don't you worry. All right. I'm bored by this already, but we'll go ahead and go a little longer, and then we'll see what happens. I have a lot of articles to read to you, too, so today might be a little bit of a long show. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't wish to me. You know what? I am not this person that wishes harm on people. I really am not, okay? I really am not. I'm just not. I think we have been driven to an extreme place of feeling. And I'm expressing all of my feelings, and that's probably not a good idea.
Olympics in Italy. Our analysts quickly identified the tactics and patterns, developed a threat bulletin that we sent out to first-line responders across the Bay Area before the crowds arrived the next morning. We also helped law enforcement and non-government organizations in their fight against human trafficking, contacting 73 adults and 10 juvenile human trafficking victims, including a 12-year-old child. Law enforcement arrested 29 suspected human traffickers, and our Fusion Center analysts played an important role supporting the Santa Clara County Human Trafficking Task Force. That level of collaboration was made possible by our use of technology that combined mapping, communication, and collaboration in a single platform. We were able to integrate tips, share online indicators of human trafficking, analyze field reports, and receive investigative requests from multiple agencies. While we're proud of the accomplishments, and I want to point out that we do have gaps that I believe Congress can help us address. We must address the ability to integrate the many threat reporting systems that remain fragmented today. Upcoming major events will test our ability to coordinate across jurisdictions under very compressed timelines. There are multiple systems which are not fully integrated with state and local platforms, creating delays and, more importantly, operational risk. We also must strengthen the field presence of DHS's Office of Intelligence Analysis. INA is the only element in the intelligence community required by law to share intelligence with state and local partners. We need to strengthen shit about the DHS, We appreciate this committee for including the NFCA for discussions on how INA can be improved. Any reform must strengthen INA's presence at all 80 fusion centers while keeping a strong core component at headquarters. Regarding drones, we are grateful that Congress gave state and local law enforcement the legal authority to mitigate drone threats by passing the Safer Skies Act last year. Now, Congress must provide the resources to expand the counter-UAS training we are required to complete to use the authorities. Congress should also provide dedicated resources for first responders to integrate drones for our daily operations. Congress should continue to provide robust support for the State Homeland Security Grant Program, SHISGAP, and the Urban Area Security Initiative, UASI. These programs support analysts, training, and technology that make information sharing and threat analysis possible at every level, every day. Without those two grants, fusion centers cannot fully contribute to the security of major events or the overall Homeland Security mission. Congress should also help resolve ongoing uncertainty around FEMA grant guidance and restrictions. The ability to carry out missions like ours at the Fusion Center should not be penalized for policy decisions we do not control. When eligibility requirements shift and when disbursements are delayed, it doesn't just affect local budgets. It derails national priority projects designed to prevent major threats. Cyber threats may present the greatest risks surrounding major events. A cyber attack of power, water, or transportation during the World Cup would create cascading failures that overwhelm response. Congress should require federal cyber partners to better integrate with and provide cyber analytical training to state and local partners. Congress should provide DHS the resources to accelerate security clearance processing for Fusion Center personnel. Clearance delays can lock out people from secure coordination spaces at the moment they are needed most. That is a gap in coverage we cannot afford. Finally, reliable public safety communications are an absolute requirement at major events. FirstNet has been an essential partner, and Congress should ensure it continues by reauthorizing the FirstNet Authority this year. In closing, planning for threat analysis and information sharing around major events is not optional. It is mission critical. When information sharing is timely and properly resourced, threats can be mitigated before harm occurs. We appreciate this committee's leadership, and I appreciate your invitation to testify today.
Thank you, Mr. Sansom. I now recognize Mr. Martinez for 5 minutes to summarize his opening statement.
Thank you, Commissioner Garabino, Ranking Member Poe, and distinguished members of this committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify regarding public safety and security preparations for the FIFA World Cup. My name is Ray Martinez, and I serve as the Chief Operating Officer for the Miami Host Committee. As stated previously, I've served for 35 years in local law enforcement.
That's it, meowing. Good morning.
My last 2.5 years as the Chief of Police of the Miami Beach Police Department. Upon my retirement from law enforcement, I moved into the event world and have worked on several large-scale international events, including music festivals, the college football playoffs in 2021, and just last month here in Miami.
You start with just like anything like ICE and the DHS moniker itself, Department of Homeland Security. I think everything is dismantled in that. And then you have your existing entities, like you're saying with FEMA and, border and customs and stuff like that. But all the stuff that was invented after 9/11, you start by trashing that. You know what I mean? Like, get rid of ICE. I mean, there used to be, what was it? Like, I can't remember what it was called, but it wasn't the modern day ICE. It was something different. So I think you do whatever. That's what you do. That's what you do. You start there and then you continue, but I'm not the expert on that. You might have dreamed that. What did you dream, Jay Rance? Someone said there's going to be, the heat sensing. You might have dreamed about the heat sensing poop indicators.
Miami.
Understood.
And I also served as the president and CEO of the Super Bowl host committee. Yeah,
absolutely. There you go, meowing. I'm in. I'm totally in.
Working with me on the host committee are several law enforcement executives with similar, if not more impressive backgrounds. Those experiences and lessons learned inform the approach we are taking with World Cup planning. The FIFA World Cup 2026 will be the largest sporting event ever conducted globally. Miami is one of 16 host cities across 3 countries in North America hosting matches. We will host 7 matches, including a quarterfinal and the bronze medal final match. The Miami Host Committee is planning on producing a 23-day fan festival where we expect hundreds of thousands of international visitors. This presents a tremendous opportunity, but also a historic operational challenge. On behalf of the 11 U.S. World Cup committees, I want to thank this committee for providing the $625 million in security funding to the host cities. Those resources are critical to ensuring that host committees have capabilities necessary to execute safe and secure tournament across multiple weeks and venues. In Miami, our security framework is built on 3 pillars: unified command, integrated local, state, and federal partnership, and intelligence-driven operations. First, the unified command. Public safety operations in Miami are led by the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office under a unified command structure that integrates municipal police, fire rescue, emergency management, and state agencies across multiple jurisdictions. Second, integrated federal partnership with state and local agencies. The White House Task Force on the World Cup has played a central role in aligning federal agency support with local agencies and host committee planning. We are grateful to the White House Task Force and Executive Director Andrew Giuliani's efforts to support and partner with the FIFA World Cup host committees. Federal partners, including...
What about Andrew Giuliani? What is he doing? Still catching up. Breastbone, rib conjunction. My doctor told me I'd have arthritis because of push-up bras. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I have psoriatic arthritis, so it's an immune thing. Immunity. Hi Max. Good morning. Yeah, I just want to read you a headline of one of the stories that I wanted to read you today as we're talking about FIFA. Wait, when was this? Oh yeah, it's this year. Yeah, I just want to show you this story that I wanted to read to us later today. I know I'm doing a terrible job of this hearing. I really apologize. I'm just not. I'm having a hard time focusing on how boring they are. Okay, I want to read this. Oops, it's gone, and it's gone, and it's gone, and it's gone. There. Okay, this is from Haaretz, so take that as you will. But report, FIFA UEFA presidents accused at World Court of aiding Israeli settlements. Oh, oopsie. The complaint cites FIFA and UEFA, I guess, for allowing Israeli football clubs from settlements on occupied Palestinian land to compete in official leagues, U.S. President Trump said on Thursday. FIFA plans to raise $75 million for soccer projects in Gaza. Human rights NGOs and advocacy groups reported the presidents of FIFA and UEFA to the International Criminal Court for allegedly aiding Israeli war crimes by enabling the country's settlement enterprise, the New York Times reported. The complaint, which was sent to the World Court's prosecutor's office on Monday, cites FIFA's and UFA's inclusion of Israeli football clubs based on in illegal settlements on occupied Palestinian territory that were built on land stolen from the Palestinian people. FIFA President Gianni Infantino and UEFA President Alexander Seferin are reportedly accused of, quote, aiding crimes against humanity in the occupied Palestinian territory, saying the organization normalizes Israel's illegal occupation of Palestine and the transfer of civilian population into occupied territories contrary to the Rome Statute. The two sports organizations permit these clubs to play in leagues organized by the Israel Football Association and host matches on the seized land, the pro-Palestinian advocacy groups reportedly said. The complaint also said the sports organizations and their presidents assist with the conduct of criminal activities, saying they aid and abet Israeli apartheid as Palestinians are not allowed to enter the matches as spectators, play for, or become managers of the illegal settlement clubs. According to the New York Times, the groups that filed the complaint include Irish Sport for Palestine, Scottish Sport for Palestine, Just Peace Advocates, Euromed Human Rights Monitor, and Sports Scholars for Justice in Palestine. During the inaugural meeting of the Board of Peace on Thursday, U.S. President Trump and FIFA said FIFA will raise $75 million for projects in the Gaza Strip. Quote, I think FIFA's initiatives in Gaza are soccer related, where you're doing fields and you're getting the greatest stars in the world to go there, Trump said. On Sunday, Israel's cabinet allocated 244 million shekels, or $79 million, for registering ownership of 15% of the land in the West Bank's Area C, which is under Israeli control within the next 5 years. If the residents can't prove they own the land, it will be registered as state-owned. Experts believe that the measure will result in many Palestinians being dispossessed of their land because they will struggle to provide ownership. Under the resolution, the cabinet instructed ministers in the IDF Central Command commander to authorize the Justice Ministry to carry out the measure. According to Israeli NGO Peace Now, the cabinet decision will lead to massive dispossession of Palestinians from most of their land in Area C and the declaration of the land as state-owned. Wow. And we're just watching it. And we're funding it. We're funding it. We're funding it. So, there's that. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about some of this shit, you know? I just don't know what to say. I don't understand. I really don't. I don't understand how you create such terror and havoc for people. And I get that it's money. I get it. I mean, it's money. That's it. But that just doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. It really doesn't. It just doesn't. Because, you know, like the entire purpose of life, I mean, maybe, is just to kind of love and be loved, right? Like to, and that's not really what I mean, but, you know, it's to exist and to love and to seek beauty. And, you know, I mean, this is, and to create, right? Like, that's what I think that this world is when it's at its best, I guess, is when people are really allowed, like, the freedom to be themselves. Yeah, Nature Boy. Do 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 do. It's a great song. I like singing that song. Anyway, that's my rant for that moment. Hey, bio review. I don't know. That sounds scary. Hey, how are you doing? Welcome. You know, so that's kind of like where I'm at. Is like I just want people to be able to live their lives in dignity with resources that are enough to sustain. I did just about quote it. Yeah, maybe it's in my head, but yeah, it's just like that's what you're here for. Like that's. I mean, what else would there be? I mean, because through that you make other people's lives better. You know what I mean? Like there's just I just don't understand why we spend so much time like trying to other people and create havoc and create discord and create like I don't know, it just really kind of pisses me off. I'm sorry. Bio means real life interactions that leads to more life, focus on research and analysis. Ooh, I love it. Okay, well, welcome Bio Review. Welcome to the show. We're sticking with this for a minute, but I'm getting bored, so they're gonna have to really kind of fuck it up. So yeah, FIFA and UFA guys have been turned over to the International Criminal Court. Oh, which by the way, we're kind of missing the Duterte trial at the International Criminal Court. It's happening in the middle of the night for me, so we might try to play some of that. I don't know. I'm not sure. There's like it's going into day 3 now, but I don't know. We'll have to look at that. Well, welcome. All right, here we go. Let's listen to this guy.
The FBI, Secret Service, FEMA, CISA, DHF provide threat assessments, intelligence integration, cybersecurity protection, contingency planning.
CISA, right, meowing?
This coordination ensures access to national capabilities and support if threat conditions evolve. Third, intelligence-driven operations. The South Florida Fusion Center, working with the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force and federal intelligence partners, lead to proactive information sharing and threat monitoring. Both the Miami Stadium and Bayfront Park will operate with layer security perimeters, credential and entry screening, dedicated emergency access lanes, and joint operations center that provide real-time situational awareness and coordinated decision-making. One of the most significant emergency threats is unauthorized drone activity. Malicious or reckless drone operation presents risk ranging from surveillance to operational disruption. In coordination with federal partners, we will be implementing temporary flight restrictions, detection capabilities, and counter UAS planning integrated into our overall security posture. We appreciate the congressional support, and particularly this committee, as well as President Trump's administration, for dedicated counter UAS funding to support these efforts. The Department of Homeland Security has assigned elevated special event assessment ratings to the Miami matches, including a Tier 1 designation for the bronze medal final match. These designations reflect the scale and international visibility of the event and reinforce the importance of robust federal, state, and local coordination, which is well underway. Miami's preparedness reflects the ongoing coordinated efforts of all 11 U.S. host committees as we work each day to ensure a safe and secure and successful FIFA World Cup. Together, we are committed to demonstrating that no nation is better equipped to host and deliver a World Cup than the United States of America. I thank you for this opportunity to appear for you today, and I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martinez. I now recognize Deputy Chief Mabin for 5 minutes to summarize his opening statement.
Chairman Garbarino, Ranking Member Poe, and distinguished members of the committee, Thank you for the opportunity to testify today on information sharing and security collaboration ahead of major events. My name is Deputy Chief Joseph Mabin, and I command the Patrol Bureau of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, which is a member of the Major City Chiefs Association. KCPD has a current staffing of over 1,100 sworn law enforcement officers, serving a city of more than 500,000 residents. In less than 16 weeks, Kansas City is projected to welcome more than 650,000 visitors during the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Kansas City has hosted major events in the past, including championship parades and iconic American sporting events such as the MLB All-Star Game and the NFL Draft. However, this event will require the largest coordinated deployment of mutual aid partners in our city's history. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is the single largest sporting event in the world. For the Kansas City metropolitan area, it represents both an extraordinary opportunity and a historic challenge. Kansas City is the smallest market among the 11 U.S. host cities, yet we will operate one of the largest overall footprints. We'll host 6 matches and 4 team base camps. In addition, Kansas City is planning a FIFA fan festival that will operate for 18 days throughout the tournament. Our tournament footprint spans 10 counties across 2 states.
I'm just going to say this is going to be a mess. Can I just say, I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I just think this is going to be a whole big fucking mess. And I don't wish, obviously, I mean, this is terrible, but I don't have any confidence in this administration, this regime, to execute anything. My God, the president has almost been shot 3 times, okay? They can't even keep one person safe. Literally. Yeah, how do you feel about Raisin Towers? So this is basically, here's how we're going to run security for the World Cup until ICE starts. Yeah, exactly. You know what? I can't listen to this. Guess what? They're going to be prepared. That's what I'm picking up, what they're putting down. Fucking hell. I can't. I can't even pretend. So I'm going to go to reading. We're going to read, if that's okay. But yeah, it's so fun. Yeah, it's so fun. I don't know. I just feel like I don't think this is, I just think this is a very bad idea. And I don't think this is the time for this country to be hosting the world's largest sporting event. I'm sorry. I really don't. And the Summer Olympics. Okay. I really don't. I don't think we need to be doing all this stuff right now. I hope the whole world boycotts. Boy, do I swear to God, Karen, I so hope that they are, and I'm sorry for the soccer players. I really am, because I love soccer. I love FIFA World Cup. I love World Cup. I think it's such a I love watching those matches. But I can't, this is not the time. Like, this is just not the time. And this is the time for large statements, right? To say, no, we're going to pull it all. Hi, Neil with an A. What's new with the crew? I'm anxious and fidgety these days, or more than normal. Oh, you're in the right place. You're going to be okay. I got bored by a couple of things. You'd have to be completely out of your mind. Yeah, I just wouldn't. And imagine the profiling that's going to go on. Can you imagine the police profiling that's going to happen at these major events? I wouldn't be going to a major event this year. No way. No way. I always have an escape route. But yeah, I would not come here. Can you imagine what the locals, police, the LAPD are going to do? And the ICE teams, and there's going to be a ton of surge of ICE agents in these cities, I would imagine. I mean, I could be wrong, and I hope I am. But I feel like there's going to be a surge of fucking assholes in these cities where I'm not looking forward to it in Los Angeles, frankly. Never mind. Yeah, anyway. All right, we've got some stuff to read. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, speaking of raisins, okay, there he is. Raisin Kane. He's regretting life right now. It's a massive gaslighting that we're a safe country to visit. I agree. And not end up in ICE custody. See, I'm sorry, this is going to happen. My God, this is going to happen. They're going to profile people. They're going to, at minimum, they're going to disrupt people's lives, right? At minimum. But that's not where they stop. It's not going to. Well, so I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm completely wrong and everything's fine. No big deal. But somehow I don't think I am. Yeah, well, I don't know if they're checking social media. Due to the Olympic curling cheating this year, they're going to have to curling boxing as an exhibition sport. What? Curling and boxing at the same time? Hitting each other with the pucks? The bean? What are they called? A ball? A bean? A bomb? What are they called? Those things that they curl with? The curl? What do they call that? Neil knows because he's a curling expert. Actually, our residential lounge expert on curling is Neil, with an I, just so you know. All right, let's read about just more joy. This is from yesterday. Oh my God. Stones. Thank you, Neil. Stone. Yeah, do they just start hitting each other with stones? Is that the new exhibition sport? Did the Canadians really cheat? Did that true? Did that controversy get resolved? I don't even know. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, probably coming into the country they will. But that's a dumb idea. I mean, isn't just about everybody from outside the country going to have bad social media on dump? I feel like, rocks colloquially. Okay, thank you. I feel like an insider. They pointed, but it didn't look intentional. So spicy. I know. That's what I meant. I was like, I can't imagine the Canadians cheating. Get out of town. They don't cheat. Oh, Canadians are too nice to cheat. All right. So let's read about the Pentagon. The Pentagon is raising concerns to President Trump about an extended military campaign against Iran, advising that war plans being considered carry risks including U.S. and allied casualties, depleted air defenses, and an overtaxed force. And guess where they're coming from? Not just anybody, but these warnings have largely been voiced by, that's right, General Raisin Kane. He's raising crap right now. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, pretty much the head guy within the Defense Department and during meetings of the National Security Council, current and former officials said, but other Pentagon leaders also have noted similar worries. Such discussions are always part of the contingency planning process before military operations, some officials said, noting that military leaders, especially the Joint Chiefs Chair, provide prudent estimates of possible casualties and other potential costs of military operations. Options being studied for strikes on Iran range from initial limited strikes to days-long aerial campaign aimed at toppling the regime. All options carry risks, but a prolonged campaign in particular could incur significant costs to U.S. forces and munition stockpiles, officials said, complicating the protection of regional partners if Iran is able to retaliate. If the U.S. uses up large amounts of air defense munitions and other items that are in limited supply, it could also impact preparations for a possible future conflict with China. That's so dumb. Officials say the issues raised by Kane, widely seen as a trusted aide by Trump and big enough simp, and others, will be a factor in the president's decision. Oh, really? Oh, really? Are you kidding me right now? Officials say the issues raised by Kane, widely seen as a trusted aide, will be a factor in the president's decision on whether to attack Iran and how. Really? Really? Jesus, they think we're so dumb. God, man, the U.S. has assembled and Trump has, officials say Trump has yet to make up his mind. Really? Really? Jesus. The U.S. has assembled the largest amount of air power in the Middle East since the 2003 Iraq War, including an aircraft carrier strike group. A second carrier is now in the Mediterranean. Okay, I need you to get down. I love you, but you can't be there. You're going to turn everything off. My lovely cat is going to turn everything off. That's what's happening. I'm not sitting close enough to the camera. Okay. Or the stuff. Okay. Oops, sorry. General Kane is a highly respected professional whose job requires providing unbiased information to the commander-in-chief, which he does perfectly, said White House spokeswoman Anna Kelly. President Dump listens to feedback from all members of his national security team, and he is always the final decision maker. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Oh, wait, my chat was... Yeah, Catgate. I'm going to tell you right now, that cat is just really wants to turn off everything. No, he didn't. One light touch with a finger will not affect a rock traveling. Oh, yeah. Okay, you didn't cheat. All right, cool. The video says they cheated, Mr. Spock. Don't make everybody mad. They didn't cheat. Canadians don't cheat. I mean, these Canadians don't. General, okay, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's all bullshit. Okay. Oops. General Kane, like all of us, would like not to see war with a capital W. I don't know what that means. But if a decision is made on going against Iran at a military level, it is his opinion that it will be something easily won. Trump posted on social media platform Truth Social later on Monday, following the media reports about Kane's warnings. Literally, this is, you have a really nice neck there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. Hi, Paul J. Did you sneak in? I didn't see you. I'm sorry. That is literally a threat by him posting after he heard about reports of Kane raising issues with a potential attack on Iran as being costly in both lives and munitions. When he heard of those media reports yesterday, he then truthed out, posted on his dump site. That's what I'm going to call it, the dump site. Just so you know, dump site equals Truth Social from now on. Just invented that. He posts on his dump site that, hey, General Kane doesn't want to go to war, but he told me he'd win it. He literally is saying that and forcing the guy's hand. Or he thinks he is. I hope he's not, but, you know, it's hard to tell these days if anybody's going to have a spine. That to me was stunning. That was a stunning paragraph. Like literally, that's like a, hey, you gotta. That's a nice family you have there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. Yeah. I don't know. The Dump administration is still negotiating with Iran about a potential deal. Meanwhile, we're just like threatening them daily. That the U.S. hopes would block Tehran's pathways toward a nuclear weapon, which Iranian leaders have denied pursuing, while curbing its ballistic missile program and its support for regional proxy militias such as Hezbollah and Hamas. The next meeting is scheduled for Thursday in Geneva, officials say, where Iran is expected to present its position to Trump's peace envoy. What? Steve Witkoff and they went to Jared Kushner. Fuck, man. Fucking Witkoff and Kushner, okay? Witkoff and Kushner and the evil spawn that Steve Witkoff has. What is his name? Kyle or something stupid like... I'm sorry. Sorry, Kyles. I'm just calling Kyle Witkoff stupid, not all the Kyles. But anyway, those two little assholes, Kushner and Witkoff, they're just like selling our country. They're selling our country. Chad. I don't know. Chad. His name's Chad. I have a new boyfriend. His name's Chad. It's really nice. It's a really great boyfriend. All right. Iran has threatened to retaliate as hard as possible against any American attack. And Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said last week his forces could sink a U.S. warship. Well, there you go. That's a nice warship you have there. It's just one of those days. In a sign of growing fears about how Iran and its regional proxies might respond to U.S. strikes, the State Department on Monday announced the evacuation of non-emergency personnel and the family members of staffers at the U.S. Embassy in Lebanon. Oops. What? Washington has long been worried about Iranian-backed militia groups striking U.S. targets and Americans abroad in response to U.S. attacks. Wow. We didn't have anything happen when Biden was president. This is a self-created problem. This is a self-created problem. So dumb. As well as Shia Muslims who also have a prophecy about the return of the hidden imam amid a global. Oh, well, why not? Let's just wait. Let's get it all over with. Okay. Kane, who has held, any military operation carries risks, but a sustained campaign against Iran would likely be among the most complex and dangerous military operations launched by Dump, with the potential to pull the U.S. into a broader war in the Middle East. No new wars. Raisin, who has held posts in the Pentagon's most highly classified programs and the CIA, is being conservative in his assessment of potential risks posed by an operation against Iran, the former and current officials said. A spokesman for Kane said the chairman, in his role as military advisor to the president, defense secretary, and National Security Council, provides civilian leaders with military options, including risks. Axios first reported Kane's internal discussions about risk. During any attack on Iran, American pilots could be vulnerable to Iranian air defenses during multiple bombing runs, according to officials. Iranian missiles could target U.S. troops at bases across the Middle East. Iran could also target population centers in Israel with its missiles and drones, as it did during the 12-day war. The 12-day war involving Iran, Israel, and the U.S. last June. Some officials said the U.S. expects Iran to fire everything it has to protect the regime, and that the U.S. only has enough interceptors to counter Iranian missile volleys for about 2 weeks, further straining a limited stock of Patriot, THAAD, and SM-3 munitions in the American arsenal. I thought that he built up everything. Yeah, it's just so he can be the tough guy, and we can take everything that Iran has. There's that too. But why are we having a limited stock of things? We haven't been sending anything to Ukraine. And I'm not even sure we've done a recent shipment of any. Maybe we're just continuing to send things to Israel. I could be wrong. I don't know if it's done in distinct operations or if it's, just a consistent flow of money and munitions into Israel or anyone else. So I just wonder why we're at such we can't fight any wars. We literally don't seem to have enough munitions to actually protect ourselves. Does that seem odd? I mean, if we're going to insist that we have that shit, don't we think we should, especially if we're doing so great? We can't resupply because the tariffs are too high. I'll bet you that's fucking true. I just don't understand why we got to a place where we have 2 weeks worth of whatever's. Interceptors. I mean, that seems like a terrible thing. Why the fuck haven't we made more interceptors? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we're being fucked. I think we're being real fucked right now. And I know that's kind of obvious, but wow. I just hope people wake up. In recent weeks, the U.S. has moved to bolster its air defenses in the Middle East by sending additional THAAD and Patriot. Oh, here we go. Oh, well, here's why we don't have them. Here's why we don't have them. Here's why we don't have them. In recent weeks, the U.S. has moved to bolster its air defenses in the Middle East by sending additional THAAD and Patriot anti-missile systems to Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Israel, the Wall Street Journal has reported. The U.S. has also moved 13 guided missile destroyers into the waters of the Middle East and the Mediterranean to shoot down Iranian threats. And isn't there 2 carriers now there? The Pentagon raised concerns about munitions capacity last June when the U.S. helped defend Israel from Iranian missile barrages. The conflict revealed alarming gaps in U.S. interceptor supplies. Well, okay. Wow. Hey, MAGA, you're being fucked. Okay? You are being fucked. Yeah. Yeah. It turns out decades upon decades of police action depletes reserves. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Poop watch. Yeah, we're going to have heat-seeking sensors inside the house chamber. The robot factories will be shitting out a stream of autonomous interceptors. Yeah, exactly. Aren't we? Is Make America Great Again? Those are the ones that we do have. Yeah, the ones we do have, we're sending to other countries, which, hey, I'm all for protecting other people. But at the same time, really? Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, they need those? Well, don't they fucking have more money than we do? I don't get it. Oh, my God. Here we go. Oh, and munition stocks. Good job, Pete. Munition stocks were also strained when the U.S. engaged in a nearly 2-month bombing campaign against the Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen. How'd that go? How's that going? How's that going for you? At the time, defense officials sought to husband munitions for a possible future war with China. I don't know. I feel like China's going to be the last people we're going to go to war with. I'm sorry. I feel like China's like, dude, we just want to sell you shit. And maybe we want Taiwan, and that might get a little spicy, and you might think you want to fight us for that. And I think Taiwan and every country should make their own determination on what they want. But at the end of the day, I think China they just want to sell shit to people, right? I don't think Xi gives a shit about, defeating the Americans. I think he wants Americans to buy his shit. I mean, come on. This is dumb. Jesus Christ. We're the only ones who are like super hawkish on China. And I mean, I'm all, you want to complain about the Muslim population in China that is constantly under threat and being enslaved. Yeah, because I was doing that in 2013. So if you want to talk about how to get human rights abuses by the Chinese government taken care of, I actually have tried to do that. So, yeah, you can't really tell me anything, all right? Because nobody gave a shit when we had people in danger of being trafficked off of fishing boats, okay? So don't fucking come to me and tell me that we somehow have this high ground about human rights when we have never lifted a finger for certain populations, while human trafficking, enslaves about, I don't know, what are the numbers that Kevin came up with, the guy that used to run a big numbers thing in anti-trafficking. Can't remember his name now. But at the time, it was like 27 million people, they think, were enslaved across the world. I'm sure it's far more and far more now. Obviously, that was a long time ago. But, so come on. Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. You don't tell me you care about human rights and you have never said anything about groups like the Rohingya and, Nepali girls being trafficked to India for sex work or for circuses or for whatever. You don't give a flying rat's fuck about trafficking, ending trafficking. I know because I was part of a team that lobbied Congress for trafficking in persons money every fucking year. Damn it. Fucking put your money where your mouth is. Munitions were also strained when the U.S. engaged in nearly 2-month. Oh yeah, At the time, defense officials, At the time, defense officials sought to husband munitions for a possible future war with China and were reluctant to use up too much scarce weaponry against a U.S. designated terrorist group threatening a vital global shipping lane in the Red Sea. Well, how's that going? We're going to check on that. Navy officials have also highlighted the potential burdens and costs of the aircraft carrier USS Gerald Ford's extended deployment for potential operations against Iran. The Ford, the U.S.'s largest warship, has been at sea since last June and is now on track for an 11-month deployment. Holy shit. That's a fucking long time. Which would break a record for the longest continuous mission by a U.S. warship. Those Navy folks on that ship must be absolutely apoplectic. The ship, oh my God, the ship has experienced sewage problems and sailors are overtaxed, and some are even considering leaving the Navy after returning home. Overstretched crews have previously contributed to mistakes and accidents. In April and May 2025, near the end of an 8-month deployment, the aircraft carrier USS Harry Truman lost several jet fighters while countering Houthi rebel attacks in the Red Sea. A Navy investigation blamed the high operational tempo of the mission. This is ridiculous. Yikes. Oh my God. Bad for morale. They can't even unclog the toilets on the Gerald Ford. Yeah, exactly. Ice guy, no. Maybe battle groups could launch illiterate ice guys from trebuchets as interceptors. Exactly. Maybe that's what they could do. I mean, it's worth a shot, right? I mean, what do we have to lose? I don't know. Hey, you want to serve your country? Get in the cannon. I'm sorry. Hey, maggots, you want to defeat Iran? Come on, put your helmet on. Let's go. Sorry. Okay. Oh yeah, there's the 15% tariffs. Wait, I have other stuff on that. I don't want to. That's not what I want to read. Oh yeah, I kind of want to read this. Okay, we're gonna come back to ICE. Let me just. I think I already read that. Actually, I don't want to read that. I really wanted to read this one. Trump's challenge to free market capitalism, but I'm not quite there yet. Okay, hold on. Oh, this is Mrs. Beasley. Okay, yeah, I want to read this. Let's talk about another thing that's absolutely blowing up in everybody's face, and that is tariffs. Sailors' naked asses hanging over the side to number 2 as they arrive. Oh my God, Dan. Terrible. I mean, though I definitely feel for enlisted sailors and stuff like that's just terrible. That's just terrible. House of Dynamite. I think I watched that. I think it was really disturbing. Am I wrong about that? Okay, Trump Treasury Secretary gives up the game on tariff revenue. Mrs. Beasley in the house. I think this is from a couple days ago. It's from the 20th. Yeah. All right. Secretary Treasury Scott Bessent is using the cleanup from the implosion of Donald Trump's illegal tariffs to set the stage for all that tariff revenue to disappear. Yeah, that's right. Speaking at the Economic Club of Dallas on Friday, Bessent claimed that in spite of the Supreme Court's decision to block Trump's tariffs imposed under the EPA, a new series of tariffs imposed under other statutes would ensure the revenue was virtually unchanged. Good morning. Good morning, TV2. How are you, dear? I guess I can't call you guys sunshines yet. You can call us whatever you want, my love. You can just say it. What I will ask, hey, TV2, are you streaming the SODU tonight? I think you are. Would it be okay? And you can say no. You seriously, they filtered it? Oh, wow, weird. What a weird one. Would you be okay if I restreamed your stream of it so that we don't have 2 views on the SODU? But I don't want to take I don't want to take anything away. I'll only have like 20 people watching. I won't have I won't take audience away. But would that be okay? You'd be honored? Oh my God, TV2, you're such a love. Thank you. Because I feel like if we just kind of create the human centipede of viewing, then they only get distinct views. You know what I mean? Oh, you're such a kind person. Thank you so much. I really, 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 really appreciate that. Oh, you're so kind, TV2. And you know what, TV2, you can use mine too. You can use mine, really. Not that mine is good, but you know what I mean. Like, you can restream me. You can do whatever you want. I never mind. I'm very happy if you want to. Can we hype it? Well, I don't know. Hype the SODU? Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm not really. I don't really. I would love to get information out. That's media literacy is my thing. So I'm just here to get information out. It doesn't really, at the end of the day, it's not. I'm not number 2 with a bullet. So that's fine. That's fine. We have a good, nice little crew here that is very smart and very sweet. So thank you, TV2. Love you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Human sodupede. Oh my God. I know. I'm sorry. That was terrible, isn't it? All right. Well, Mrs. Beasley wants to sell you a bridge. Aw, thank you. Thank you. But Mrs. Beasley warned that at least $175 billion of tariff revenue that the U.S. government had already collected would likely evaporate. I got a feeling the American people won't see it, Beasley said, his fingertips pressed together. Like, wait, I'll do. Wait, here we go. This is it. Hold on.
Yeah, I got a feeling the American people won't see it. That's right. Good luck, suckers. But you know who is going to see it? For 20 cents on the dollar? The nutlickers. That's right. The nutlickers are going to see all that tariff revenue. Woo. Make Howard Nutlicker rich again.
Oh my God, Mrs. Beasley, stop being such an asshole. I heard RFK Jr. and Mr. Pillowhead were doing a shirt. Stop it. Are you kidding me? Oh shit. Why did I go to Truth? What happened? Oh my God. The man is taking over my fucking thing. Oh, whoops. I'm all out. Oh, I wanted to read that too. I lost it. Now I lost where I was. God damn it. God, you fucking, what happened? Where's the Truth Social? You guys, are you fucking with me? Are you fucking with me? There's not even, what happened? How did I I can't find my thing anymore. Oh man. What happened? Mrs. Beasley, where'd you go? Where'd you go, Mrs. Beasley? Oh my God. How did this happen? What the? Oh, here we go. Sorry. I thought it was a Wall Street Journal article. Oh, yeah. Everyone is so grateful. We really wanted to watch it, but we didn't want to give the president any more views than he deserves. Okay, here we go. But if Americans don't see those funds, there would be only one person to blame, and that's Mr. Dump. Promises to fund sweeping tax cuts, bridge payments to farmers, deficit reduction, and phony $2,000 rebate checks all went up in smoke because they weren't his promises to make. Clearly, Besant deserves some blame too because he didn't bother to see if the president's fees were actually legal before he went to collect them. Oopsie. The Supreme Court's majority ruling did not say that the federal government could keep the money from the improperly collected tariffs, but conservative Justice Kavanaugh warned in his dissenting opinion that doling out refunds could get messy. You don't have any refunds. We don't have any refunds, okay? Can I tell you? All right, let me tell you. Oh my God, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you. I think I did this before. U.S. debt. Oh, here we go. Speaking of which, oh, this is Fortune. They're so fucking assholes. Fortune magazine, they don't let us see it. Yeah. National debt. Is this my chart? I need my chart. Oh, yeah, this is my chart. This is terrible. This is terrible. Yeah, okay, so this is over years. I don't really like this. Okay, but if you, let me show you this. Let me get next to my New Republic article so I don't miss it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Beep. Okay, so this is the fiscal data. This is, I don't know if this is the government. Yeah, this is the Treasury's website. National debt. Let me show you the national debt. Oh, this is from a long time ago, so keep in mind. But if you go from 2020, oh yeah. If you go from 2018 or actually just here, fucking go from, oh, it's not going to let me do that. 2018, it was 27 trillion. it's only going up, guys. Okay. 33. That was, what was that? When was that? Oh my God. 2021, 33.5 trillion. 2025, 37.64. The debt is not going down. The tariff money isn't enough to pay down the debt. The tariff money we collected this year was about $287 billion. About $145 billion of that is just been said by the Supreme Court that he can't charge those. So technically, all that money has to be refunded to the importers, as Lee explained to us last week, that the importers will receive the refunds. Oh, but wait a minute, there's more. Actually, fucking Nut Liquor is going to receive the tariff refunds. Okay, you want to talk about who's going to get the big check? It's Nut Liquor and his son, because they bought the debt that importers were going, or they bought the refund, the power of the refund. So basically betting that these tariffs would have to be refunded. Howard Nut Liquor went out and spent God knows how much buying the rights to these refunds, basically betting against his own government, his own policy. Because now what they bought for 20 cents on the dollar, they're going to get the full dollar, and that 80 cents on every dollar is pure, unadulterated profit. That's right. And you want to know when he bought all these refunds? After April 2025, when the tariffs were introduced. So throughout the spring and summer, his son was busy scooping up as many ability to get the refunds as possible. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that should be legal, does it? Does it? Doesn't it seem like a little bit of what we would call insider trading? Doesn't it? I don't know. I mean, if y'all want to just be raped by these guys over and over again, whatever. But fiscally, that's what they're doing to this country. And if you support this regime, you're supporting the corruption and the theft from the American people, from you and me. So, there you go. Sorry. Oh no, I did it again, didn't I? Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart. Got lost in the game. Ooh, baby, baby. I think you're in love. Let me see what else I've got. L Brand CEO. I don't even. You're dumb. Oh, yeah. This is the thing. Protecting the U.S. economy. This is the 15% new tariff. President Trump is now using Section 122 of the Trade Act, which is 150 days. The proclamation imposes for a period of 150 days a 10% ad valorem import duty on articles. So that's 10% across the board. I think it's now 15, right? Didn't he say it was 15? This might have not been updated. Some goods will not be subject to the temporary import duty because of the needs of the U.S. economy, or in order to ensure the duty more effectively addresses the fundamental international payments problem, including, oh, here we go. Here's the exemptions from the global tariffs. I'm sorry. Curls are fucked up. Certain critical minerals, metals used in currency and bullion, energy, and energy products. So there's that. Natural resources and fertilizers that cannot be grown, mined, or otherwise produced in the U.S. are grown, mined, or otherwise produced in sufficient quantities to meet domestic demand. Certain agricultural products, including beef, tomatoes, and oranges. I thought we had beef farmers here. Oh, we don't have beef farmers? Is that what it is? I'm confused. Pharmaceuticals and pharmaceutical ingredients. Certain electronics. Certain. I don't know. This is only a presidential White House memorandum. But certain electronics. You guess which ones. I don't know. Passenger vehicles. Certain light trucks. So all cars, basically. Aerospace products. So Boeing, you're fine. Informational materials, donations, and accompanied baggage. I don't know what that means, but okay. In addition, the following goods will not be subject to this blanket import duty. All articles and parts of articles that are currently or are later become subject to Section 232 actions, which I guess is when there's whatever. I don't know what that is. USMCA compliant goods of Canada and Mexico, and textiles and apparel articles that enter duty-free as a good of Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, or Nicaragua under the Dominican Republic Central America Free Trade Agreement. Oh my God, we let that one slip through. In a separate executive order, Dump also reaffirmed and continued the suspension of duty-free de minimis treatment for low-value shipments. Oh, including goods shipped through the International Postal System, which will also be subject. Wait a minute. Reaffirmed and continued the suspension. Oh, so there isn't one? So we basically, everything under $800 gets some kind of tariff on it. And so you then have to, those prices are going to go up because the importer is paying that. The importer is paying the higher price, right? Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, affordability. This is going to help. In addition to today's actions, the president has directed the Office of United States Trade Representative, a.k.a. Jamie. Wait, where is he? Where is Jamie? Oh, you think I'm in love. I'm not that innocent. Here's Jameson, our trade representative, right there. It's a live shot. Looks like he's running to a meeting. Let's see. Including okay. In addition to today's actions, this guy, the leprechaun, has to use its Section 301 authority to investigate certain unreasonable and discriminatory acts, policies, and practices that burden or restrict U.S. commerce because he wants to use 301 to also increase tariffs. Because let me give you the story of what is happening here and why tariffs are so important. Sorry. Hold on. Tariffs are so important because one of the things that Dump had to do in order to get all the donors that he had in order to win an election is he had to make sure that there was a lot in it for these corporate donors to go along with his agenda. Okay? So that's why the big ugly bill is so important in this time, because in that big ugly bill, the bottom line is that corporate tax rates have been slashed. For example, there is not only the permanency of the corporate tax rate at 15% or 11% or something like that. There is also this thing where if you build in the United States, I can't remember exactly all the little conditions you have to meet, but basically if you're building something or something like that, you can expense all of that in 1 year of taxes. Okay? And what the effect of that is going to be is corporations who already don't pay a lot in terms of taxes can't spread that cost over multiple years. They're not required to do that anymore. They can do it all in 1 year. What do you think that's going to do to the actual revenue coming into the Treasury? Well, I would say it's probably going to lower the amount of revenue you get every year from that bucket. Okay? So how do you make that up? How do you make up the money that needs to go to the Treasury so that, Kash Patel can fly to Milan and drink beer with a bunch of misogynists? Let's see. Oh, I know. You shift the burden and you make it a consumer tax, which is called a tariff. Because what happens in reality is that the exporters, China, they can have a 15, 20, 30, 45% tariff on it, but they're not the ones paying the tariff. The guy, Amazon, or the guy who's importing the stuff in, the import people, they're paying the tariff. And then what do you think they do? Because do you think they're going to eat that cost? Do you think people who sell things in this country that are imported are going to eat the cost of the import duty or tax or tariff that they had to pay to get that product into the United States? No. They're going to raise prices across the board, usually, so that they can make up that revenue. So guess what, kids? The tariffs fall back on us because the prices inevitably do go up. And if you're not paying attention, then I don't know how to help you. But at the bottom line is the prices are going up. So I'm telling you right now, it's just like, and yeah, right now the economy looks whatever from the outside, but I'm going to tell you, and we'll play a couple things. The economists are not, they're not enthusiastic about the future, because what is happening is we're creating an even greater wealth gap, which was already was horrific. Yeah, so now we're paying so that billionaires and millionaires and corporations can write off all their expenses and will make up the revenue that goes to the Treasury. That's literally what's happening. And I know it's hard for people to understand that. Like, it's really hard. But I'm telling you, that is the mechanics of how this works. And don't trust me. Listen to economists. Like, you don't have to trust me. It's called a K-shaped economy. And the job creation that is coming from these new data centers and other things are very highly specialized jobs. There's not as many of them as there would have been in a traditional hands-on factory, right, for example. So that K-shaped economy is where the wealth people go up, but the middle lower class, or lower economic status, I should say, not lower class, but lower economic status, they go down. And that's the K, right? However you do a K. So that's the K-shaped economy that is fast approaching. And I think, this is just my opinion, and I'm not a very smart person when it comes to this. Lee is our trade expert, and she's working on trade right now, so she can't be with us. But, I think that that this is going to be that people in 2025 actually stocked up on inventory when there was the threat of tariffs. And I think that we are still enjoying somewhat the prices that reflect existing, or at least some existing inventory that people had on hand. So I can't imagine that continues when you have tariffs in place for such a long time. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. No one is going to get refunds. We don't have enough money. You literally have a $38 trillion debt, not deficit, debt. And you have $287 billion a year coming in, at least for this year. What? Oh, I don't know if the Dems did. But so, you're not getting refunds. There's no way anyone is sending you money, because if it is, it's just adding to the debt. Okay, the debt. Yeah, and the trade deficit, again, has been growing. We're not narrowing anything. We're not achieving the goals that they intended for this FERCACTA policy of Mar-a-Lago Accord, which is only the extortion plan. Okay, this is about revenue generation, and it's also about extortion, because what we do is use this trade as a threat, this tariff as a threat, for extracting critical minerals and other resources from countries that we need it from. So what we've started is a protection racket. It's now a protection racket in the United States. That's our foreign policy. We don't give aid much anymore, if at all. Okay? We don't get aid. It's just, that's it. The tariff, here we go. J-Ran's coming in. Tariff Refund Act of 2026 would direct U.S. Customs and Border Protection to refund those tariff revenues with interest within 180 days after enactment. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, nobody lowers prices. I'm sorry. And my coffee used to be like $12.99 a pound. It's $18.99 a pound. And coffee isn't even fucking tariffed. Okay? Like, literally, wake the fuck up, people. They would like you to just go ahead and pass away because all of us, not you, but all of us, because reduce the surface population. That is literally what the fuck is happening here. It is fucking Scrooge, and he says, well, then they should get on with it and reduce the surface population. DHS just got a boatload of money. Yeah, exactly. And, so I don't know. I mean, I'm just a nut trying to move your butt. I'm just trying to tell you that I'm in it for all of us. I'm in this for all of us. And I really hope that I don't know how we get through it. I don't know, but I just feel like we better do something. We better do something. Vote in those fucking midterms, please. I don't know what's going to happen in the midterms, but please, please, please. Please, please. Okay, this is from a few days ago, but it's Olga Lautman. I love her so much. ICE is using phone extraction software linked to Russia's FSB-connected network. Oops, I did it again. Karen Diggs went to Publix yesterday. What'd you buy? Hold on. Yesterday for BOGOs only. No meat, no meal, even. $127? Oh, my God. That's terrible. All right, here we go. What's Olga have to say? I'll make it bigger so you can read. Oh, I'll take off Jameson. Jameson, get out of here. Oh, I love this stuff. I just tell you, colorgram. No, color. I'm telling you, colorgram, Amazon. I'm sorry, I don't want to buy Amazon anymore, but I really love this lip stuff. Okay. Make it bigger. Make it bigger. Make it bigger. Over the past decade, federal agencies have dramatically expanded their use of digital surveillance and extraction tools, embedding mobile forensic software into immigration enforcement, criminal investigations, and national security operations. One of the tools currently used by ICE traces back to a company connected to Russia's mobile forensics industry and to an FSB-linked network tied to one of the FBI's most wanted hackers. Mm-hmm. On September 30th, 2024, ICE signed another federal contract with Oxygen Forensics, Inc., a digital forensics company based in Alexandria, Virginia. The company's software is designed to extract messages, deleted files, location history, application data, and other information from smartphones and convert it into structured investigative reports. This is the kind of contract that has gone unnoticed until now. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Current end date, 9/26 potential. Oh, fucking hell. Last week, Radio Svoboda published a detailed investigation into Eduard Bendersky, a veteran of the FSB's elite Vimpel Special Forces unit and the father-in-law of FBI indicted and wanted hacker leader Maxim Yakubets. The reporting examined Bendersky's expanding role inside Russia's defense and technology sectors following Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, including his leadership of a Soviet-era telecommunications institute involved in satellite communications and missile electronics, as well as his investments in cybersecurity and data infrastructure companies operating under FSB licensing. Aldi is good. Yeah, I like Aldi. The investigation also documented how Russian authorities are deploying mobile forensic detective systems at border crossings. Citizens returning to Russia after fleeing the country during the war described being required to hand over their phones for forensic extraction. Officers connected devices to standardized kits capable of recovering deleted messages, geolocation data, cached social media content, browser histories, and encrypted communications. Wow! Wow! Within hours, the data was indexed, keyword searched, and in some cases used to initiate criminal proceedings tied to anti-war speech or so-called extremism. Well, what playbook is that? Hi, Badger. How are you, darling? Here we go. Let's see. The investigation... Oh, yeah. Mobile forensic detective traces back to a company once known as Oxygen Software, later reorganized as MKO Systems. Russian procurement records and court filings show that mobile forensic tools have been supplied to agencies, including the FSB and the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and have been used in politically sensitive prosecutions. Separately, in 2021, Oxygen received an FSB license authorizing it to carry out work involving cryptographic technologies. And that same network connects to a hacker that's been on FBI's radar for years. In December 2019, the FBI indicted Maxim Yakubets, believed to be living in Russia, alleging that he led the Evil Corp cyber criminal organization. Oh my God, that's right. It's called Evil Corp. I forgot. Oh my God. A cyber criminal organization responsible for global banking malware and ransomware campaigns that stole tens of millions of dollars from financial institutions and corporations worldwide. The United States offered a $5 million reward for information leading to his arrest, one of the largest bounties ever placed on a cyber criminal. Oh my God. Oh my God, he looks like a pinhead. Jesus Christ, this guy? Aqua. Oh my God, they're all so horrid. Ugh. I'll just read the first line. Maxim Viktorovich Yakubets is wanted for his involvement with computer malware that infected tens of thousands of computers in both North America and Europe, resulting in actual financial losses in the tens of millions of dollars. Woof, girl. By the time of the indictment, Yakubets had already married into Russia's security establishment. In 2017, he married the daughter of Eduard Bendersky, a former officer in Vimpel. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Within Russia's Federal Security Service, the successor to the KGB. Vimpel is a clandestine unit responsible for counterterrorism, sabotage, assassinations, and other covert operations inside Russia and abroad. There's Putin. What Putin? There he is. Oh, he's sitting right there. There's Bendersky. Oh, wow. By 2024, coordinated actions by authorities in the United States and the United Kingdom and Australia led to additional sanctions against members of Evil Corp, known in cybersecurity circles as Indrik Spider. Eduard Bendersky was among those sanctioned. Law enforcement officials stated that he used his influence to connect ransomware group with Russian intelligence services and help shield its members after the 2019 U.S. indictments. Officials further assessed that prior to 2019, Russian intelligence services had tasked Indrik Spider with carrying out cyber attacks and espionage against NATO member states. Bendersky's role extends well beyond his family connection to Yakubets. In the years following the indictment, he emerged as an investor in Oxygen, a Moscow-based data infrastructure company operating inside a state-linked technology zone, and took on a leadership role at the sanctioned Moscow Research Institute of Radio Communications, a Soviet-era defense telecommunications institute involved in strategic communications, satellite systems, and aviation electronics within Russia's military-industrial complex. Bendersky also invested in Oxygen. The company is a resident of the Technopolis, Moscow, Special Economic Zone and employs over 300 specialists. Oxygen's data center is ranked among the top five in Russia. Get away. Oh my God, stop. I don't like it. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Oh God. Don't click on those pictures. They make you go places. Its clients include 8 of Russia's 13 systemically important banks. Since 2023, Eduard Bendersky and his partners have been implementing a financial recovery program for the Moscow Research Institute of Radio Communications. The institute has specialized in radio electronics and instrumentation since 1927. During the Great Patriotic War, it produced communications equipment for military vehicles, jack radios for reconnaissance aircraft, and mine detectors. The institute invented printed circuit boards a year before their Western counterparts. So there, dirty Americans, we'll beat you. We'll beat you. We'll beat you in the Russia. And for over a decade, the Oxygen brand has been operating in both countries. Oxygen Software was founded in Moscow in the early 2000s by Russian developers Oleg Fedorov and Oleg Davidov, and by 2013 expanded into the Olegs. That's what we call them, the two Olegs, and expanded into the United States as Oxygen Forensics, Inc. The American entity was formally registered in Virginia and began marketing mobile extraction software to U.S. law enforcement agencies. I would definitely, if I worked in like incorporating shit in Virginia and Maryland, I'd be fucking taking a close look at the shit that comes across my desk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that this, I would think that Virginia and Maryland have particular attraction for some of these dicks. By the mid-2010s, Oxygen Forensics had secured contracts with the U.S. Secret Service, the FBI, ICE, and other federal agencies, integrating its tools into federal investigative workflows. Oh my God. I have such a headache. Meanwhile, Russian business reporting noted that by 2025, mobile forensic had become the leading smartphone extraction platform in Russia. I'm Fyodorov. I'm Oleg. How you doing? I've got the phone I want to sell you. I have some software for you. I have software for your computer. It'll be really good. Really good. I love it. Today, Oxygen Forensics, Inc., a U.S. registered entity, continues to hold contracts with the federal government. Yeah, because why not? Records reflect current and prior awards from ICE, the FBI, the DEA, Customs and Border Protection, and the State Department. What's their security clearance? That's what I want to know. The company maintains an active federal contractor registration through September 2026 and remains eligible for additional federal awards. Like its Russian counterpart, Mobile Forensic emerged from the same origins as Oxygen Software origins. Oxygen Forensic is built to extract and analyze data from smartphones, including Apple iOS devices such as iPhones and other digital devices used in criminal and national security investigations. The software can recover encrypted or deleted communications, application data, call logs, device metadata, and other digital artifacts, compiling them into structured reports designed for evidentiary use. The capabilities closely resemble those described in Radio Svoboda's reporting on the systems deployed at Russian border crossings. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. California? Girl. What the fuck? What? All right. Gotta look into that. I didn't even know we had a California justice, whatever. The technical relationship between the Russian and American product lines surfaced publicly in late 2023 when the Russian firm Elkomsoft filed suit in Moscow Arbitration Court alleging that MKO Systems incorporated proprietary code enabling deep extraction from Apple iOS devices, including access to passwords, browsing histories, photographs, and other protected data. Independent reporting in Forbes noted that comparable technical methods appeared in Oxygen Forensic Detective. Although the case ended in a settlement in Russia, the litigation drew attention to the technical proximity between tools supplied to Russian security services and those used by U.S. agencies. Oh my God. Oh my God. Celebrite. Oh, it's Celebrite. Where's Tina? She knows about, or Clay knows about Celebrite, I think. Plaintiff Celebrite Mobile Synchronization by and through its underside counsel respectfully allege and submit as follows. Copyright infringement, misappropriations of trade secrets, and false advertising. Interesting. Cellbrite is a company formed under the laws of Israel. Oxygen Russia is formed under the laws of Russia. Okay. Oh boy. The use of Russian-founded forensic tools within U.S. investigative systems is not new. As early as 2016 and 2017, Oxygen Forensics, Elkomsoft, and other Eastern European digital forensics firms were supplying extraction tools to U.S. federal agencies, even as scrutiny of Russian cyber operations intensified following Russia's 2016 election interference. ICE had already contracted for Oxygen software in 2016, and the Secret Service entered into six-figure agreements for similar capabilities. During the same period, congressional committees sought information about DHS contracts for electronic device search software, reflecting oversight concerns about vendors and operating within sensitive federal systems. Well, it's really interesting that like 6 Republicans are trying to sue for hundreds of millions of dollars because their phones were looked at as part of the January 6 investigation. But they'll certainly support having, Russian and Israeli spyware they'll actually contract with them. You know what I mean? Like, what? So you don't care really if anybody's phone is looked at. You just don't want your phone looked at. But you definitely want my phone looked at because I'm Antifa or something. Whatever. Ow. 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 Yeah, here we go. It's Kaspersky. Goddamn Kaspersky. During the same period, congressional, oh yeah, that's right. These concerns unfolded alongside efforts to remove Moscow-based Kaspersky Lab. Remember how everybody thought they were the fucking be-all, end-all? I do. From federal networks over fears that Kremlin pressure could create hidden access pathways. Kaspersky products were ultimately barred from federal use. Mobile forensic tools developed by Russian-founded companies, however, remain embedded in enforcement environments. Yeah, mobile extraction systems are, whoops, wait, what did I do? Oh, yeah. Mobile extraction systems are now central to investigative practices across jurisdictions. In Russia, they're used at border crossings and in cases targeting dissent and political speech. Where does that remind you of? In the United States, they've been used in immigration enforcement, criminal investigations, and national security cases embedded in procurement cycles and agency budgets, and are now increasingly deployed at border crossings for all visitors and in investigations involving protest and politically sensitive matters. There's no public evidence of a direct operational alliance between Russian intelligence services and U.S. agencies using Oxygen software. What the record does show is a technology supply chain that crosses geopolitical fault lines. Digital forensic tools with documented Russian corporate origins, historical ties to Moscow's security-adjacent ecosystem, sanctioned individuals and entities, and parallel product development pathways are operating inside U.S. federal investigative systems. It just doesn't sound like a good idea to me. A company whose technology traces back to Russia's digital extraction industry and whose related products have been supplied to agencies, including the FSB, is operating inside U.S. immigration and law enforcement systems, even as Russia remains a hostile U.S. adversary. At the same time, ICE's use of phone data extraction tools is expanding at border crossings, in immigration enforcement actions, and against protesters. Congress needs to examine how these contracts were approved, what safeguards are in place, and why federal agencies are relying on technology linked to an adversary's security ecosystem. That's scary. Hey, girl, you heard Kaspersky. I was hoping there's a gal tweet for that. I know there is. Oh, baby, here we go. From July 9th, 2022. Girl on it. You're on it, girl. I love you. In addition to the RT dinner in December 2015, O'Donnell's memo highlights Flynn's paid appearance at an October 2015 conference sponsored by Kaspersky Government Security Solutions, an entity that appears to be controlled by the Russian government. Now, why would that be something important? And here we go. And Flynn's work for Innovo BV, a corporation organized in the Netherlands that assisted the Turkish government. Well, that's crazy. And didn't Mike Flynn's son get accused of trying to assassinate someone on behalf of Turkey? Didn't that happen? Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Michael Flynn is a big old dick. Jim Stewartson was right about everything. It's my song for Jim. All right, Michael Flynn cited, this is from, it's from July 8th or July 9th. No, 8th, because Gal's right on it. There's probably a whole thread, but I thought the Flynn connection. Yep, this is it. Michael Flynn, Lieutenant General Failure. That's what I call him. Otherwise known as the head of the PTA at West Point. Bummer. You're not in the first line. You're not Kash Patel, Mike. Okay. You could have been drinking beer with the U.S. hockey team, Mike. Okay. But you fucked up. I think you're messy. You didn't do so good on 1-6. Mike Flynn, the retired Army general, Lieutenant General. Okay. Can we just stop with the general shit? And one-time advisor to Dump, and now just the head of the PTA at West Point, was cited by the Defense Department Inspector General for failing to disclose lucrative speaking engagements and other business arrangements with foreign entities. Terrible. Prompting the U.S. government to pursue tens of thousands of dollars in penalties against him, according to documents. Well, then he's just definitely innocent. Investigators determined that Flynn received nearly $450,000 from Turkish and Russian interests in 2015, including for an appearance in Moscow alongside President Vladimirovich Putin, but found no records that he had sought government approval beforehand. Their findings are detailed in a January 2021 memo to the Army released through the Freedom of Information Act. The Army notified Flynn in a May letter obtained by the WAPO that it would seek to recoup $39,000 about from him, zeroing in on money and in-kind compensation he received for a gala dinner celebrating the 10th anniversary of RT, the Kremlin-run news agency. Putin sat beside Flynn. That's pretty big at the event, and later told NBC News that he didn't even really talk to him. I don't know. It was awkward as fuck. Flynn didn't respond to a phone call. Yeah. Craig Schmauder, an Army lawyer, wrote in a letter that Flynn's failure to obtain the approvals of the Secretary of the Army and Secretary of State resulted in a violation of the Emoluments Clause, a provision of the U.S. Constitution that prohibits retired military personnel from receiving money from foreign governments without prior authorization. When there is a finding that a military retiree has violated the Emoluments Clause, the United States government may pursue a debt collection, Schmauder wrote to Flynn. Schmauder added that the Army was requesting that the Defense Financing Accounting Service seek recoupment from you in a debt of an amount of $38,557.06. It was not clear why the Army sanctioned Flynn for the Moscow visit, but not his other work. Oh, boy. Sean O'Donnell, the acting Defense Department Inspector General, RIP, wrote the January 2021 memo released Thursday that the Defense Department regulations state that if a retired U.S. service member receives money from I don't remember even hearing about this. U.S. service member receives money from a foreign government without prior approval, it is considered received by the retired member for the United States. A debt in favor of the government is created, which is to be collected by withholding from retired pay, O'Donnell wrote. In addition to the RT dinner in December of 2015, O'Donnell's memo highlights Flynn's paid appearance at an October 2015 conference sponsored by Kaspersky Government Security Solutions. Huh, who knew? Flynn is hooked. Yes, Jim. I'm going to tell you right now, Jim Nalgren, you're in a room that has experts on Mike Flynn. There's nothing about Mike Flynn that certain people in this room don't already know. I love you, but yes, rod of iron, but there's so much more. There's so much more. But yes, Rod of Iron Ministries. But Gal Suburban knows probably more about Mike Flynn than anybody I know, certainly, except for Jim. Jim probably knows more. The Army determined April 28th that Flynn violated the Emoluments Clause. Michael Brady, an Army spokesman, said in an email. Oh, wait, did I miss this? PV. Oh, yeah. Corporation Assistant. No, okay. The Army forwarded its findings to the Defense Finance and Accounting Service, which calculates how much is owed and handles collection. Flynn acknowledged the financial penalty in a television interview broadcast in May. I think that's a pretty cheap price to get off for espionage, Flynn. I would shut your fucking pie hole, okay? I think you're fucking lucky you haven't been yoinked on treason yet. It's coming, though. Flynn acknowledged the financial... Okay, yeah, it means something.
Yeah, it means something, but at the end of the day, this country means a heck of a lot more. And by this country, I mean Russia. Oh, well, I mean the U.S. Maybe. I don't know. But at the end of the day, this country means a heck of a lot more than what they will do to me. Don't put me in jail. I'm scared. I'm scared of jail. Take my son. He's stupid.
Oh, boy. But Trump pardoned former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn. Suggesting the punitive action was politically motivated. Flynn was Trump's first national security advisor, but became ensnared. That's what they call it now. In the Justice Department's investigation of Russian interference in the 2016 election because he interfered. Okay? He abruptly left the White House just weeks into the administration, later pled guilty to lying to the FBI about his contacts with Russian ambassador to the United States, and then attempted to reverse course before Trump eventually pardoned him in November of 2020. Thanks for a job well done. After Trump's defeat, Flynn suggested to Trump that he declare martial law and force a rerun of the contest in key states that went for President Biden. The insurrection was Plan B. The Defense Department Inspector General's investigation was opened in April 2017, but languished for years, while Flynn was the subject of a criminal investigation. Is that what happened? It was because he was under criminal investigation, so the Army couldn't do anything about it. Is that what it was? Is that what it was? Very interesting. I don't know. I'm going to say no. Let me take that off. Okay. After Trump, O'Donnell, the acting inspector general, wrote in his memo that the investigation had been held in abeyance since June 2017, pending the resolution of criminal allegations against Lieutenant General Flynn. Flynn's rank when he retired from the Army. Yeah, you're a fucking lieutenant general. Stop it with the general shit. After and you're a fucking traitor. Okay, so there's that too. How about that? After Trump pardoned Flynn, the Justice Department informed O'Donnell's office that their interest in this matter is moot, and that the Inspector General's office may proceed in a manner we deem appropriate. Well, that means nothing. We're going to hide it and squash it. We're squashing it, people. Squash it. Squash the report. Let's see what else we have. I know I have some good stuff. Hold on. I already read that. Oh, here we go. Let's read this. This is John Pavlovich's piece that... Who was it Karen? Who brought this up? I'm so sorry. I have no memory. But someone brought this to our attention. Hi, Lee. How are you, darling? Oh, it's good to see you, love. Thanks for stepping in. Hey, U.S. men's hockey team. You may not realize this, but you just won the gold medal. Not just in ice hockey, but in misogyny. Watching you all hunched around a phone, loudly laughing it up while a court-adjudicated rapist and likely serial pedophile unnecessarily, but quite predictably belittles your female counterparts. I got to tell you, the national pride was off the charts. It was Sharon Brown. Thank you so much, Sharon. I really appreciate when you guys remind me because I have zero short-term memory, and I don't mean anything by it. I love you all so much. Yes, she did. Thank you. It's me. I can't keep anything straight. That's pretty much it. Okay. I was this close to throwing on some acid wash jorts, lighting up a bottle rocket, waving a flag, and cranking me up some Kid Rock. Look, I get it, guys. You were in a rough spot, still flooded with adrenaline after having just accomplished the greatest athletic feat of your lives, something you surely worked tirelessly for and should be extremely proud of. I can imagine it was impossibly easy to get caught up in the moment. But here's the thing. Real men are defined in such moments. Having the so-called leader of what currently passes for the free world, whose name appears on tens of thousands of times in the Epstein files, shamelessly gushing over you, all while the crazy-eyed head of the FBI guzzles beer like a frat party first-timer who'll soon be vomiting into the nacho bar, was a lot to contend with. Women always have had to contend with a lot, fellas. And being young men, there's a good chance you may not have any clue about the terrible optics of you all yucking it up with Olympic-level predator like Donald Dump, a guy who's already spent the last couple of weeks attacking your brethren in free skiing and skating for not wanting to claim ownership of trafficking ring cover-ups and mass death squads, or for having a mouth piercing. You should have had a damn clue. It might not even occur to you the message you sent, not only to the USA women's hockey team, but to tens of millions of girls and young women throughout this country who spend every single day of their lives having to fight tooth and nail for their worth, who work 5 times as hard for half the respect, who are continually made to feel less than by men in their lives. It should have occurred to you if you already lived that way. There's a good chance it didn't even register how this was a deja vu moment where they once again were reminded that this country is not designed for them, nor willing to treat them with dignity they deserve. It should have registered unless you're really comfortable in such a country. Or you may simply have been exactly what you looked like to many people. You may be among the terrifyingly large army of young white men throughout this nation who find their identity in a vile, belligerent, spray-tanned knuckle-dragger who spent his entire life dehumanizing, berating, and abusing the girls and women in his path. That's what I'm afraid of. Some of you might have been raised by fathers whose voices you recognize in his narcissistic, racist, sexist ramblings, so you don't wince like the rest of us as we watched this all too familiar boys will be boys, dude bro huddle. You may be surrounded in your homes and churches and practices and locker rooms by other men who display the same disregard for the feelings, bodies, and wills of women. Because of this, you may even aspire to become a so-called adult like this president, a man who defiles women without accountability, who defames them without a penalty, and whose vast and disgusting body of work declares he has complete contempt for girls and young women. I truly hope that some of you might have simply laughed along, placed in an impossible spot in front of the lights and cameras and the bombast of a bloviating world leader, carelessly using you as propaganda fodder. Just know that as you grow and mature, the test of your manhood is whether or not you can declare the joke unfunny, no matter who's in the room. I hope you define yourselves differently and stand for something higher and believe in a decency that the man leading this nation is not capable of or interested in. After all, good men can stand for what is right, even when that means standing alone. And if so, I hope that in the quiet of your life, in the private and public exchanges you have with women, and in the individual platforms that these medals afford you, that you'll hold yourself to a higher standard than the subterranean crater Donald Dump daily excavates. None of you are children, though you're grown men. And grown men who can't police themselves or rise to a moment like this are proving who they are. As it is, your entire team should at the very least apologize to this nation and to the women who call it home for your collective lack of judgment, your alignment with a predator, and your perpetuation of the toxic masculinity that is doing so much damage to the country you represent. If not, you'll have lost where it really counts. But just know that disturbing and painful moments like these are why women rightly choose the bear. That's really good. Wow, that's really good. Thank you, Sharon Brown. That was really excellent. Wow. I didn't realize they slammed the women's team. I didn't know that. That seems a little intense. All right, I know I have another. I have more things. I have more things. No, I already read that. I think we kind of read that. I don't really want to read that. I keep coming to that and I'm like, man, I don't want to read it. Oh, this one. Oh God. Okay. I do want to read this. Well, let's see. Do I want to read this? How long? 19 minutes. Okay. Maybe we'll do this first. All right. So I was going down rabbit holes last night and I went down the AI economy rabbit hole. John is the best. I don't know his work that well. It was a very good piece, I thought. I appreciate it. I appreciate that piece. There's another AI doom post doing the rounds. This time the S&P 500 dives nearly 40%. This is from yesterday. And this article is from Market Watch, so it's going to be a little weirdly technical. I was reading it last night, but I think it kind of gets the point. Oh, do I have the Citrini research? Wait, maybe I should read that first. Okay, let me preface this. All right, so this is a Substack from Citrini Research, which is a financial, whatever. And this particular blog post caused a real hit to the Dow yesterday. And so there's a lot of chatter on Wall Street, et cetera, on the economy side of the street, if you will, about this prediction around AI. So I wanted to read the source of what is pushing the market. I don't know. But anyway, in the interest of original sources, I want to read what is being said in this Substack to see what are they saying. And granted, here's something we know. These are analysts, okay? They don't have actually magic skills to see the future. And they can be wrong. But they also are focused on studying the trends and the past history in order to understand what things mean. So that's why I find them interesting. but know that they are not the be all end all. So, with that caveat, I say. The 2020, this is Citrini Research's Substack on the 2028 Global Intelligence Crisis, a thought exercise in financial history from the future. What if our AI bullishness continues to be right? Now, again, these are like market dudes, okay? So just like take it with a grain of salt. What if our AI bullishness continues to be right? And what if that's actually bearish? What follows is a scenario, not a prediction. This isn't bear porn or AI doomer fan fiction. The sole intent of this piece is modeling a scenario that's been relatively underexplored. Our friend Alap Shah posed the question, and together we brainstormed the answer. We wrote this part, and he's written 2 others you can find, and then there's that. Hopefully reading this leaves you more prepared for what potential left tail risks as AI makes the economy increasingly weird. Oops. Ah, that looks dangerous. Oh, that's a cute cover. Okay, here we go. All right, so what we're going to do, the consequences of abundant intelligence. February 22nd, nope, we're going to June 30th, 2028. This is a scenario they're painting, okay? So just the unemployment rate printed 10.2% this morning, a 0.3 upside surprise. The market sold off 2% on the number, bringing the cumulative drawdown in the S&P 500 to 38% from its October 2026 highs. You know, that thing that was at 7,000, but it's not actually right now. Traders have grown numb. 6 months ago, a print like this would have triggered a circuit breaker, and that's when you stop trading. 2 years, that's all it took to get from contained and sector specific to an economy that no longer resembles the one any of us grew up in. This quarter's macro memo is our attempt to reconstruct the sequence, a post-mortem on the pre-crisis economy. The euphoria was palpable. By October 2026, the S&P 500 flirted with 8,000. The NASDAQ broke above 30K. The initial wave of layoffs due to human obsolescence began in early 2026, and they did exactly what layoffs are supposed to. Margins expanded, earnings beat, stocks rallied. Record-setting corporate profits were funneled right back into AI compute. The headline numbers were still great. Nominal GDP repeatedly printed mid to high single-digit annualized growth. Productivity was booming. Real output per hour rose at rates not seen since the 50s, driven by AI agents that don't sleep, take 6 days, or require health insurance. The owners of compute saw their wealth explode as labor costs vanish. Meanwhile, real wage growth collapsed. Despite the administration's repeated boast of record productivity, white-collar workers lost jobs to machines and were forced into lower-paying roles. When cracks began appearing in the consumer economy, economic pundits popularized the phrase ghost GDP, output that shows up in the national accounts but never circulates through the real economy. In every way, AI was exceeding expectations, and the market was AI. The only problem, the economy was not. It should have been clear all along that a single GPU cluster in North Dakota generating the output previously attributed to 10,000 white-collar workers in Midtown Manhattan is more economic pandemic than economic panacea. The velocity of money flatlined. The human-centric consumer economy, 70% of GDP at the time, withered. We probably could have figured this out sooner if we just asked how much money machines spend on discretionary goods. Hint, it's zero. AI capabilities improved, companies needed fewer workers, white-collar layoffs increased, displaced workers spent less, margin pressure pushed firms to invest more in AI capabilities improved. It was a negative feedback loop with no natural break. The human intelligence displacement spiral. White-collar workers saw their earnings power and rationally their spending structurally impaired. Their incomes were the bedrock of the $13 trillion mortgage market, forcing underwriters to reassess whether prime mortgages are still money good. 17 years without a real default cycle had left privates bloated with price earnings backed software deals that assumed, I don't know what ARR, sorry, I don't know that term, would remain recurring. The first wave of defaults due to AI disruption in mid-2027 challenged that assumption. This would have been manageable if the disruption remained contained to software, but it didn't. By the end of 2027, it threatened every business model predicated on intermediation. Swaths of companies built on monetizing friction for humans disintegrated. The system turned out to be one long daisy chain of correlated bets on white-collar and productivity growth. The November 2027 crash, again, this is all just like their, scenario. Crash only served to accelerate all of the negative feedback loops already in place. We've been waiting for the bad news is good news for almost a year now. The government is starting to consider proposals, but public faith in the ability of government to stage any sort of rescue has dwindled. Policy response has always lagged economic reality, but the lack of a comprehensive plan is now threatening to accelerate a deflationary spiral. Here we go. How it started. In late 2025, agentic coding tools took a step function jump in capability. A competent developer working with Claude Code or Codex could now replicate the core functionality of a mid-market SaaS product in weeks. Those are those like business solution, like big business software platforms, where they run it's not something I ever was very good at. Not perfectly or with every edge case handled, but well enough that the chief information officer reviewing a 500,000 annual renewal started asking the question, what if we just built this ourselves? Fiscal years mostly line up. We're going to have so many AI LLMs out there. I just can't even. Fiscal years mostly line up with calendar years, so 2026 enterprise spend had been set in Q4 2025 when agentic AI was still a buzzword. The mid-year review was the first time procurement teams were making decisions with visibility into what these systems could actually do. Some watched their own internal teams spin up prototypes replicating six-figure SaaS contracts in weeks. That summer, we spoke with a procurement manager at Fortune 500. He told us about one of his budget negotiations. The salesperson had expected to run the same playbook as last year, a 5% annual price increase, the standard "your team depends on us" pitch. The procurement manager told him he'd been in conversations with OpenAI about having their forward-deployed engineers use AI tools to replace the vendor entirely. They renewed at a 30% discount. That was a good outcome, he said. The long tail of SaaS like Monday.com, Zapier, and Asana had it much worse. Investors were prepared, expectant even, that the long tail would be hit hard. They may have made up a third of the spending for the typical enterprise stack, but they were obviously exposed. The systems of record, however, were supposed to be safe from disruption. It wasn't until ServiceNow's Q3 26 report that the mechanism of reflexivity became clear. So this is their fake announcement. ServiceNow net new ACV growth decelerates from 14% to 14% from 23%, announces 15% workforce reduction and structural efficiency program. SaaS wasn't dead. There was still a cost-benefit analysis to running and supporting in-house builds. But in-house was an option, and that factored into pricing negotiations. Perhaps more importantly, the competitive landscape had changed. AI had made it easier to develop and ship new features, so differentiation collapsed. Incumbents were in a race to the bottom on pricing, a knife fight with both each other and with a new crop of upstart challengers that popped up. Emboldened by the leap in agentic coding capabilities and with no legacy cost structure to protect, these aggressively took share. The interconnected nature of these systems weren't fully appreciated until this print either. ServiceNow sold seats. When Fortune 500 clients cut 15% of their workforce, they canceled 15% of their licenses. The same AI-driven headcount reductions that were boosting margins at their customers were mechanically destroying their own revenue base. The company that sold workflow automation, that's what we're talking about, SaaS and things like that, was being disrupted by better workflow automation, and its response was to cut headcount and use the savings to fund the very technology disrupting it. That's the paragraph right there. Uh-oh, what happened? What? Teresa, yeah, what happened? Withheld and removed some Epstein file. Yeah, I mean, I saw some shit that was there one day and gone the next. We're definitely going to get to that. Let me go ahead and just finish this, and then I will get to that. Oh, Don't worry. I'm going to get back. Okay. LOL. This just in. Hey, guys. I know this is a little like in the weeds, but I think this is important. I want to kind of read it and then try and start to understand it. So you're now experiencing my learning system, my learning thing. The federal building in Baltimore's parking garage is covered in new vehicles, SUVs, and pickup trucks. They all have new cars because they got that 50,000 bonus. Go out and buy yourself a new Jeep. That one is about the mushroom bite. What's that mean? What's a mushroom bite? Uh-oh. Is that like a Alice in Wonderland reference or something? So this is actually a really important paragraph. The company that sold workflow automation was being disrupted by better workflow automation, and its response was to cut headcount and use the savings to fund the very technology. What else were they supposed to do? Sit still and die slower? The companies most threatened by AI became AI's most aggressive adopters. This sounds obvious in hindsight, but it really wasn't at the time, at least to me. The historical disruption model said incumbents resist new technology. They'd lose share to nimble entrants and die slowly. That's what happened to Kodak, to Blockbuster, to BlackBerry. What happened in 2026 was different. The incumbents didn't resist because they couldn't afford to. With stocks down to 40% or 60% and boards demanding answers, the AI-threatened companies did the only thing they could, cut headcount and redeploy the savings into AI tools. Use those tools to maintain output and maintain output with lower costs. Each company's individual response was rational. The collective result was catastrophic. Every dollar saved on headcount flowed into AI capability that made the next round of job cuts possible. Software was only the opening act. What investors missed while they debated whether SaaS multiples had bottomed was that the reflexive loop had already escaped the software sector. The same logic that justified ServiceNow cutting headcount applied to every company with a white-collar cost structure. Think about it. Think about companies like who run the big like HR platforms, I can't think of them any off the top of my head, but if you think about any of those where there's an intensive like insurance agents and kind of like that kind of thing, you can see a lot of that being automated through AI. And that's pretty devastating for employment. I'm sorry. You just don't need as many people. I mean, and I think AI can be a great thing. I think it literally has to figure out its environmental impact first. I don't know why. We're just ignoring the environmental impact of AI, it seems. When friction went to zero. By early 2027, large language model usage had become default. People were using AI agents who didn't even know what an AI agent was, in the same way people who never learned what cloud computing was used streaming services. They thought of it the same way they thought of an autocomplete or a spell check, a thing their phone just did now. Quinn's open source agentic shopper was the catalyst for AI handling consumer decisions within weeks. And they do this now. You can tell Amazon to put things in your cart based on your past. Yeah, ADP. Thank you. Yes. Workday. JRants. Thank you so much. That's what I was trying to think of. ADP. Yeah, especially. I don't know, but I've been told this is gonna be a real thing. Shit. Within weeks, every major AI assistant had integrated some agentic commerce feature. Distilled models meant these agents could run on phones and laptops, not just cloud instances, reducing the marginal cost of inference significantly. I've never had an Amazon account. Well, congratulations. The part that should have unsettled investors more than it did was that these agents didn't wait to be asked. They ran in the background according to the user's preferences, and they probably defaulted to running in the background. Commerce stopped being a series of discrete human decisions and became a continuous optimization process, running 24/7 on behalf of every connected consumer. By March 2027, the median individual in the United States was consuming 400,000 tokens per day, 10 times since the end of 2026. The next link in the chain was already breaking. Over the past 50 years, the U.S. economy built a giant rent extraction layer on top of human limitations. Things take time, patience runs out, brand familiarity substitutes for diligence, and most people are willing to accept a bad price to avoid more clicks. Trillions of dollars of enterprise value depended on those constraints persistent. It started out simple enough. Agents removed friction. I like that this doomsday scenario is built on the premise AI can result in these as yet unrealized productivity gains. Even the best case scenario is doom. Yes. That's what has shook up the markets. Subscriptions and memberships that are passively renewed despite months of disuse, introductory pricing that sneakily doubled after the trial period, each one was rebranded as a hostage situation that agents could negotiate. The average customer lifetime value, the metric the entire subscription economy was built on, distinctly declined. Consumer agents began to change how nearly all consumer transactions worked. Humans don't really have the time to price match across 5 competing platforms before buying a box of protein bars. Machines do. Travel booking platforms were an early casualty because they were the simplest. By Q4 2026, our agents could assemble a complete itinerary, flights, hotels, ground transport, loyalty optimization, budget constraints, refunds, faster and cheaper than any platform. Insurance renewals, where the entire renewal model depended on policyholder inertia, were reformed. Agents that reshop your coverage annually dismantled the 15 to 20% premiums that insurance earned from passive renewals. Financial advice, tax prep, routine legal work, any category where the service provider's value proposition was ultimately, quote, I will navigate complexity that you find tedious, was disrupted as the agents found nothing tedious. Even places we thought insulated by the value of the human relationship proved fragile. Real estate, where buyers had tolerated 5 to 6% commissions for decades because of information asymmetry between agent and consumer, crumbled once AI agents equipped with MLS access and decades of transaction data could replicate the knowledge base instantly. A sell-side piece from March 2027 titled it, quote, agent on agent violence. The median buy-side commission in major metros had compressed from 2.5 to 3% to under 1%, and a growing share of transactions were closing with no human agent on the buy side at all. We had overestimated the value of human relationships. It turns out that a lot of what people called relationship was simply friction with a friendly face. That was just the start of the disruption for the intermediation layer. Successful companies had spent billions to effectively exploit quirks of consumer behavior and human psychology that didn't matter anymore. Machines optimizing for price and fit do not care about your favorite app or the websites you've been habitually opening for the last 4 years, nor feel the pull of a well-designed checkout experience. They don't get tired and accept the easiest option or default to, I always just order from here. That destroyed a particular kind of moat, habitual intermediation. DoorDash was the poster child. Coding agents had collapsed the barrier for entry for launching a delivery app. A competent developer could deploy a functional competitor in weeks, and dozens did, enticing drivers away from DoorDash and Uber Eats by passing 90 to 95% of the delivery fee through to the driver. Multi-app dashboards let gig workers track incoming jobs from 20 or 30 platforms at once, eliminating the lock-in that incumbents depended on. The market fragmented overnight and margins compressed to nearly nothing. Agents accelerated both sides of the destruction. They enabled the competitors and then they used them. The DoorDash moat was literally, you're hungry, you're lazy, this is the app on your home screen. An agent doesn't have a home screen. It checks DoorDash, Uber Eats, the restaurant's own site, and 20 new vibe-coded alternatives so it can pick the lowest fee and fastest delivery every time. It's so interesting. This was oddly poetic, as perhaps the only example in this entire saga of agents doing a favor for the soon-to-be displaced white-collar workers. When they ended up as delivery drivers, at least half of their earnings weren't going to Uber and DoorDash. Of course, this favor from technology didn't last for long as autonomous vehicles proliferated. Once agents controlled the transaction, they were looking for bigger paper clips. There was only so much price matching and aggregating to do. The biggest way to repeatedly save the user's money, especially when agents started transacting among themselves, was to eliminate fees. In machine-to-machine commerce, the 2 to 3% card interchange rate had become an obvious target. Agents went looking for faster and cheaper options than cards. Most settled on using stablecoins via Solana or Ethereum L2s, where settlement was near instant and the transaction cost was measured in fractions of a penny. Stablecoins. And then they have this fake report from Bloomberg. MasterCard Q1 net revenue plus 6% year over year. Purchase volume growth slows to plus 3.4% from 5.9%. So less people buying. Interesting. MasterCard's Q1 2027 report was the point of no return. Agentic commerce went from being a product story to a plumbing story. MA dropped is that MasterCard? I guess dropped 9% the following day. Visa did too, but paired losses after analysts pointed out stronger positioning in stablecoin infrastructure. Oh my God, a transition. Okay, so traditional transaction, $100 consumer purchase, about 2.5 merchant fee. Then the issuing bank is responsible for about 1.7 to 2% through rewards, interest, and operations. The network, I don't know what that is, gets 0.15, and the acquiring bank processor gets 0.3 to 0.5, and the merchant ends up receiving, of the $100 purchase, $97.50. But if you have an agentic stablecoin transaction, the $100 consumer purchase goes through the agent. Total cost is less than a penny, and the merchant receives $99.99 of the 100. Well, what decision do you think they're going to make? Agentic commerce routing around interchange posed a far greater risk to card-focused banks and monoline issuers who collected the majority of that 2 to 3% fee and had built entire business segments around rewards programs funded by the merchant subsidy, which is interesting because Bernie Moreno is really pushing this legislation or something where banks would use stablecoin for rewards. He's pushing this legislation to eliminate basically the wall between traditional banking and digital currency. And there's a wall there for a reason. I don't know. I don't know. Shit. American Express was hit the hardest, a combined headwind from white-collar workforce reductions gutting its customer base and agents routing around interchange gutting its revenue model. Wow. Synchrony, Capital One, and Discover fell more than 10%. Their moats were made of friction, and friction was going to zero. Through 2026, markets treated negative AI impact as a sector story. Software and consulting were getting crushed. Payments and other toll booths were wobbly, but the broader economy seemed fine. The labor market, while softening, was not in free fall. The consensus view was that creative destruction was part of any technological innovation cycle. It would be painful in pockets, but the overall net positives from AI would outweigh any negatives. Well, easy for you to say. Our January 2027 macro memo argued that this was the wrong mental model. The U.S. economy is a white-collar services economy. White-collar workers represented 50% of the employment and drove roughly 75% of discretionary consumer spending. The businesses and jobs that AI was chewing up were not tangential to the U.S. economy. They were the U.S. economy. That's important. Technological innovation destroys jobs and then creates even more. This was the most popular and convincing counter-argument at the time. It was popular and convincing because it had been right for 2 centuries. Even if we couldn't conceive of what the future jobs would be, they would surely survive or arrive. ATMs made branches cheaper to operate, so banks opened more of them, and teller employment rose for the next 20 years. The internet disrupted travel agencies, the yellow pages, brick-and-mortar retail, but it invented entirely new industries in their place that conjured new jobs. Every new job, however, required a human to perform it. AI is now a general intelligence that improves at the very tasks human would redeploy to. Displaced coders cannot simply move to AI management because AI is already capable of that. Today, AI agents handle many weeks-long research and development tasks. They exponential steamrolled our conceptions of what was possible, even though every year Wharton professors tried to fit the data to a new sigmoid. They write essentially all code. The highest performing of them are substantially smarter than almost all humans at almost all things, and they keep getting cheaper. AI has created new jobs: prompt engineers, AI safety researchers, infrastructure technicians. Humans are still in the loop, coordinating at the highest level or directing for taste. For every new role AI created, though, it rendered dozens obsolete. The new roles paid a fraction of what the old ones did. The hiring rate had been anemic all year, but in October 26, JOLTS provided some definitive data. Job opening, I can't remember that. Job openings fell below 5.5 million, a 15% decline year over year. White-collar openings were collapsing, while blue-collar openings remained relatively stable, construction, healthcare, trades. The churn was in the jobs that write memos. We are somehow still in business, approve budgets, and keep the middle layers of the economy lubricated. Real wage growth in both cohorts, however, had been negative for the majority of the year and kept declining. The equity market still cared less about JOLTS than it did about all of that. GE Vernova's turbine engine capacity was now sold out until 2040. It ambled sideways in a tug-of-war between negative macro news with positive AI infrastructure headlines. The bond market, always smarter than equities, or at least less romantic, began pricing the consumption hit, however. The 10-year yield began a descent from 4.3 to 3.2 over the following 4 months. Still, the headline unemployment rate did not blow out. The composition nuance was still lost on some. In a normal recession, the cause eventually self-corrects. Overbuilding leads to a construction slowdown, which leads to lower rates, which leads to new construction. Inventory overshoot leads to destocking, which leads to restocking. The cyclical mechanism contains within its own seeds of recovery. This cycle's cause was not cyclical. In a traditional cyclical recession, self-correcting, overbuilding, inventory overshoot, construction slowdown, destocking, lower rates, restocking, new construction, recovery. That's typically, I guess, what a recession does. But in an AI-driven economic feedback loop, AI investment increases and AI capability improves. Companies need fewer workers. White-collar layoffs increase. Displaced workers spend less. Economy weakens. Companies invest more in AI to protect their margins. There's no natural break, is what they're trying to say. AI got better and cheaper. Companies laid off workers, then used the savings to buy more AI capability, which let them lay off more workers. Displaced workers spent less. Companies that sell things to consumers sold fewer of them, weakened, and invested more in AI to protect margins. AI got better and cheaper. A feedback loop with no natural break. The intuitive expectation was that falling aggregate demand would slow the AI build-out. It didn't, because this wasn't hyperscaler-style CapEx, capital expenditures. It was operating expenditures substitution. A company that had been spending $100 million a year on employees and $5 million on AI now spent $70 million on employees and $20 million on AI. AI investment increased by multiples, but it occurred as a reduction in total operating costs. Every company's AI budget grew while its overall spending shrank. The irony of this was that the AI infrastructure complex kept performing even as the economy it was disrupting began deteriorating. NVDA was still posting record revenues. TSM was running at 95% utilization. The hyperscalers were still spending $150 to $200 billion per quarter on data center capex, capital expenditures, building data centers. Economies that were purely convex to this trend, like Taiwan and Korea, outperformed massively. India was the inverse. The country's IT services sector exported over $200 billion annually, the single largest contributor to India's current account surplus and the offset that financed its persistent goods trade deficit. The entire model was built on one value proposition. Indian developers cost a fraction of their American counterparts, but the marginal cost of an AI coding agent had collapsed to essentially the cost of electricity. TCS, Infosys, and Wipro saw contract cancellations accelerate through 2027. The rupee fell 18% against the dollar in 4 months as the services surplus that had anchored India's external accounts evaporated. By Q1 2028, the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, had begun preliminary discussions with New Delhi. The engine that caused the disruption got better every quarter, which meant disruption accelerated every quarter. There was no natural floor to the labor market. In the U.S., we weren't talking about how the bubble would burst in AI infrastructure anymore. We were asking what happens to a consumer credit economy when consumers are being replaced with machines. 2027 was when the macroeconomic story stopped being subtle. The transmission mechanism from the previous 12 months of disjointed but clearly negative developments became obvious. You didn't need to go into BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, data just attend a dinner party with friends. Displaced white-collar workers did not sit idle. They downshifted. Many took lower-paying service sector and gig economy jobs, which increased labor supply in those segments and compressed wages there, too. A friend of ours was a senior product manager at Salesforce in 2025. Title, health insurance, 401k, $180,000 a year. She lost her job in the third round of layoffs. After 6 months of searching, she started driving for Uber. Her earnings dropped to $45,000. The point is less the individual story and more the second-order math. Multiply this dynamic by a few 100,000 workers across every major metro. Overqualified labor flooding the service and gig economy pushed down wages for existing workers who are already struggling. Sector-specific disruption metastasized into economy-wide wage compression. This is it, yeah, but it's just, that's a model of what I just read. The pool of remaining human-centric had another correction ahead of it happening while we write this, and autonomous delivery and self-driving vehicles work their way through the gig economy that absorbed the first wave of displaced workers. By February 2027, it was clear that still employed professionals were spending like they might be next. They were working twice as hard, mostly with the help of AI, just to not get fired. Hopes of promotion or raises were gone. Saving rates ticked higher and spending softened. The most dangerous part was the lag. High earners used their higher-than-average savings to maintain the appearance of normalcy for 2 or 3 quarters. The hard data didn't confirm the problem until it was already old news in the real economy. Then came the print that broke the illusion. U.S. initial jobless claims surged to 487,000, highest since April 2020. Initial claims surged to 487,000. ADP and Equifax confirmed that the overwhelming majority of new filings were from white-collar professionals. The S&P dropped 6% over the following week. Negative macro started winning the tug-of-war. In a normal recession, job losses are broadly distributed. Blue-collar and white-collar workers share the pain roughly in proportion to each segment's share of employment. The consumption hit is also broadly distributed, and it shows up quickly in the data because lower-income workers have higher marginal propensities to consume. In this cycle, the job losses have been concentrated in the upper deciles of the income distribution. They are a relatively small share of total employment, but they drive a widely disproportionate share of consumer spending. The top 10% of earners account for more than 50% of all consumer spending in the United States. The top 20% for roughly 65%. These are the people who buy the houses, the cars, the vacations, the restaurant meals, the private school tuition, the home renovations. They are the demand base for the entire consumer discretionary economy. When these workers lost their jobs and took 50% pay cuts to move into available roles, the consumption hit was enormous relative to the number of jobs lost. A 2% decline in white-collar employment translated to something like a 3 to 4% hit in discretionary consumer spending. Unlike blue-collar job losses, which tend to hit immediately, you get laid off from the factory, you stop spending next week, white-collar job losses have a lagged but deeper impact because these workers have savings buffers that allow them to maintain spending for a few months before the behavioral shift kicks in. By Q2 27, the economy was in recession. The NBER would not officially date the start until months later, they never do, but the data was unambiguous. We'd had 2 consecutive quarters of negative real GDP growth, but it wasn't a financial crisis yet. Oh, private credit. Oh boy. We haven't even talked about private credit. Sorry, I know this is long and very detailed. I hope I'm not boring you guys. I feel like I'm actually really interested to see how they describe what could be happening, and it's just good information as a base for me, and then I can go and investigate different things. So forgive me. If you're really bored, please tell me, and I'll certainly move on to something else. But I'm a kind of a nerd for this shit. And I don't understand half of what he's saying. So there's that too. Those assumptions died somewhere between the first agentic coding demo and the Q1 2026 software crash. But the marks didn't seem to realize they were dead. Hey, speaking of which, do we know why? I find it interesting. Thank you, Sharon Brown. Do we know why all these big websites were disrupted last week? Remember that when YouTube went down and AWS, Amazon Web Services went down and all that stuff? Do we know why that happened? I'm just curious. All right, private credit. This is something we have not even broached, but I've been seeing a couple things about it. Oh, was it Iran? I don't know. I just don't. I don't know if anyone. I didn't follow up on any reporting from that. Let's put it that way. I didn't see any reports. Private credit had grown from under 1 trillion in 2015 to 2.5 trillion by 2026. A meaningful share of that capital had been deployed into software and technology deals, many of them leveraged buyouts of SaaS companies at valuations that assumed mid-teens revenue growth in perpetuity. Those assumptions died somewhere between the first agentic coding demo and the Q1 2026 software crash. Oh my God, I read that twice. I'm sorry. But the marks didn't seem to realize they were dead. As many public SaaS companies traded to 5 to 8 times EBITDA, price earnings backed software companies, I don't know what PE, maybe it's not price earnings, it's probably not, sat on balance sheets at marks reflecting acquisition valuations on multiples of revenue that didn't exist anymore. Okay, I understand the revenue doesn't exist anymore. Coincidence, I posted a chainsaw. Oh my God. Daisy chains. Oh my God. Managers eased the marks down gradually, 100 cents, 92, 85, all while public comps said 50. I don't know what that means, but it sounds important. Oh, it's Moody's rating software, PE-backed software. Hold on. I know, you guys probably know, and you're like, it's this, look at the screen. Oh, private equity. Oh, private equity-backed software companies are mature, high cash flow SaaS or enterprise software firms owned by investment firms like Thoma Bravo, Vista Equity Partners, KKR, Kohlberg, Kraft, and Roberts or something. I know the Roberts family from San Francisco. Interesting. Software private equity firm. Holy shit, I haven't even heard of those. Focused on operational efficiency, growth, and profitability. These firms often use merger and acquisition to consolidate markets, aiming for high return on investment exits through what the fuck? PE, now we have to worry about them too? Oh my God. Private equity-backed software debt. Oh my God, this is what they do to move companies around and merger and acquisition shit. Oh my God. Wow. Talking about a revolution. Well, you know, we all want to change the world. But do we? I don't know if everyone does. Everyone remembers what happened after the downgrade. Industry veterans had already seen the playbook following the 2015 energy downgrades. Software-backed loans began defaulting in Q3 2027. Private equity portfolio companies in information services and consulting followed. Several multi-billion-dollar leveraged buyouts of well-known SaaS companies entered restructuring. Zendesk was the smoking gun. Zendesk misses debt covenants, so it didn't pay its debt, as AI-driven customer service automation erodes, revenue? Something. $5 billion direct lending facility marked to 58 cents, largest private credit software default. In 2022, Hellman and Friedman and Permira had taken Zendesk private for $10.2 billion. The debt package was $5 billion in direct lending, the largest ARR-backed facility in history at the time, led by Blackstone with Apollo. That's Leon Black, and he's a child rapist, allegedly. That's right, we've talked about Leon Black, and he's Apollo, and he also supports Jared Kushner. Apollo's bad. Blue Owl and HPS all in the lending group. The loan was explicitly structured around the assumption that Zendesk's ARR is annual recurring revenue. Got ya. Would remain recurring at roughly 25 times EBITDA. EBITDA, I think is the leverage only made sense if it did. By mid-2027, it didn't. AI agents had been handling customer service autonomously for the better part of a year. The category Zendesk had defined, ticketing, routing, managing human support interactions, was already replaced by systems that resolved issues without generating a ticket at all. The annualized recurring revenue the loan was underwritten against was no longer recurring. It was just revenue that hadn't left yet. The largest annualized recurring revenue-backed loan in history became the largest private credit software default in history. Every credit desk asked the same question at once. Who else has a secular headwind disguised as a cyclical one? But here's what the consensus got right, at least initially. This should have been survivable. Private credit is not 2008 banking. The whole architecture was explicitly designed to avoid forced selling. These are closed-end vehicles with locked-up capital. LPs, limited partnerships? I don't know. Committed for 7 to 10 years. There are no depositors to run, no repo lines to pull. The managers could sit on impaired assets, work them out over time, and wait for recoveries. Painful, but manageable. The system was such that it was supposed to bend, not break. Executives at Blackstone, KKR, and Apollo cited software exposure of 7 to 13% of assets. Containable. Every sell-side note and FinTwit credit account said the same thing. Private credit has permanent capital. They could absorb losses that would otherwise blow up a leveraged bank, I think, not levered bank. Permanent capital. The phrase showed up in every earnings call and investor letter meant to reassure. It became a mantra, and like most mantras, nobody paid attention to the finer details. Here's what it actually meant. Over the prior decade, the large alternative asset managers had acquired life insurance companies and turned them into funding vehicles. Apollo bought Athena. Brookfield bought American Equity. KKR took Global Atlantic. The logic was elegant. Annuity deposits provided a stable, long-duration liability base. The managers invested those deposits into the private credit they originated and got paid twice, earning the spread over on the insurance side and the management fees on the asset management side. A fee-on-fee perpetual motion machine that worked beautifully under one condition. The private credit had to be money good. The losses hit balance sheets built to hold illiquid assets against long-duration obligations. The permanent capital that was supposed to make the system resilient was not some abstract pool of patient institutional money and sophisticated investors taking sophisticated risk. It was the savings of American households. Main Street, structured as annuities, invested in the same private equity-backed software and technology paper that was now defaulting. The locked-up capital that couldn't run was life insurance policyholder money, and the rules are a bit different there. Compared to the banking system, insurance regulators had been docile, even complacent. But this was the wake-up call. Already uneasy about private credit concentrations at life insurers, they began downgrading the risk-based capital treatment of these assets. That forced insurers to either raise capital or sell assets, neither of which was possible at attractive terms in a market already seizing up. When Moody's put Athene's financial strength rating on negative outlook, Apollo's stock dropped 22% in 2 sessions. Brookfield, KKR, and others followed. It only got more complex from there. These firms hadn't just created the insurer perpetual motion machine, they'd built an elaborate offshore architecture designed to maximize returns through regulatory arbitrage. The U.S. insurer wrote the annuity, then ceded the risk to an affiliated Bermuda or Cayman reinsurer it also owned, set up to take advantage of more flexible regulation than that permitted holding less capital against the same assets. That affiliate raised outside capital through offshore SPVs. I'm not sure what that is. A new layer of counterparties who invested alongside insurers into private credit originated by the same parent's asset management arm. So they're all just paying themselves. Oh my God. Originates the private credit. Okay, so the asset manager like Apollo would originate the private credit loan. The life insurer buys the credit to back the annuity payouts. Okay. The loan. Is that the loan? And then offshores the risk for lower capital requirements and lower oversight offshore. And that's legal, I guess. The ratings agencies, some of which were themselves private equity owned, had not been paragons of transparency, surprising to virtually no one. The spiderweb of different firms linked to different balance sheets was stunning in its opacity. When the underlying loans defaulted, the question of who actually bore the loss was genuinely unanswerable in real time. The November 2027 crash marked the transition of perception from a potentially garden variety cyclical drawdown to something much more uncomfortable. A daisy chain of correlated bets on white-collar productivity growth was what Fed Chair Kevin Warsh called it during the FOMC's emergency November meeting. See, it is never the losses themselves that cause the crisis. It's recognizing them. And there is another, much larger, much more important area of finance for which we have grown fearful of that recognition. The mortgage question. Whoop, whoop. This month, Zillow Home Value Index fell 11% year over year in San Francisco, 9% in Seattle, and 8% in Austin. This hasn't been the only worrying headline. Last month, Fannie Mae flagged higher early stage delinquency from jumbo heavy zip codes, areas that are populated by 780 plus credit score borrowers and typically bulletproof. The U.S. residential mortgage market is approximately $13 trillion. Mortgage underwriting is built on the fundamental assumption that the borrower will remain employed at roughly their current income level for the duration of the loan, for 30 years in the case of most mortgages. The white-collar employment crisis has threatened this assumption with sustained shift in income expectations. We now have to ask a question that seemed absurd just 3 years ago. Are prime mortgages money good? Every prior mortgage crisis in U.S. history has been driven by one of three things: speculative excess, lending to people who couldn't afford the loan or couldn't afford the homes, as in 2008; interest rate shocks, rising rates making adjustable rate mortgages unaffordable, as in the early 1980s; or localized economic shocks, a single industry collapsing in a single region, like oil in Texas in the 1980s or auto in Michigan in 2009. None of these apply here. The borrowers in question are not subprime. They're 780 FICO scores. They put 20% down. They have clean credit histories, stable employment records, and incomes that were verified and documented at origination. They were the borrowers that every risk model in the financial system treats as the bedrock of credit quality. In 2008, the loans were bad on day one. In 2028, the loans were good on day one. The world just changed after the loans were written. People borrowed against a future they could no longer afford to believe in. So this actually, I'm going to link this document, but you can take a closer look at this. In 2027, we flagged early signs of invisible stress: HELOC draws, 401k withdrawals, and credit card debt spiking while mortgage payments remained current. As jobs were lost, hiring was frozen, and bonuses cut, these prime households saw their debt-to-income ratios double. They could still make the mortgage payment, but only by stopping all discretionary spending, draining savings, and deferring any home maintenance or improvement. They were technically current on their mortgage, but just one more shock away from distress. And the trajectory of AI capabilities suggested that that shock is coming. Then we saw delinquencies begin to spike in San Francisco, Seattle, Manhattan, and Austin, even as the national average stayed within historical norms. We're now in the most acute stage. Falling home prices are manageable when the marginal buyer is healthy. Here, the marginal buyer is dealing with the same income impairment. While concerns are building, we are not yet in a full-blown mortgage crisis. Delinquencies have risen but remain well below 2008 levels. It's the trajectory that's the real threat. The intelligence displacement spiral now has two financial accelerants to the real economy's decline. Labor displacement, mortgage concerns, private market turmoil, each reinforces the other. And the traditional policy toolkit, rate cuts, quantum economics or something, can address the financial engine, but it cannot address the real economy engine, because the real economy engine is not driven by tight financial conditions. It's driven by AI making human intelligence less scarce and less valuable. You can cut rates to zero and buy every MBS and defaulted software leveraged buyout debt in the market. It won't change the fact that a Claude agent can do the work of a $180,000 product manager for $200 a month. If these fears manifest, the mortgage market cracks in the back half of this year. In that scenario, we'd expect the current drawdown in equities to ultimately rival that of the GFC, Great Financial Crisis. I don't even know what that means. 57% peak to trough. This would bring the S&P 500 to about 3,500, levels we haven't seen since the month before the ChatGPT moment in November 2022. What's clear is that the income assumptions underlying $13 trillion in residential mortgages are structurally impaired. What isn't is whether policy can intervene before the mortgage market fully processes what this means. We're hopeful, but we can't deny the reasons not to be. The battle against time. The first negative feedback loop was in the real economy. AI capability improves, payroll shrinks, spending softens, margins tighten, companies buy more capability, capability improves. Then it turned financial. Income impairment hits mortgages, bank losses tightened credit, the wealth effect cracked, and the feedback loop sped up. And both of these have been exacerbated by an insufficient policy response from a government that seems, quite frankly, confused or intentional. There's two possibilities. The system wasn't designed for a crisis like this. The federal government's revenue base is essentially a tax on human time. People work, firms pay them, the government takes a cut. Individual income and payroll taxes are the spine of receipts in normal years. Through Q1 of this year, federal receipts were running 12% below CBO baseline projections. Payroll receipts are falling because fewer people are employed at prior compensation levels. Income tax receipts are falling because the incomes being earned are structurally lower. Productivity is surging, but the gains are flowing to capital and to compute, not labor. Labor's share of GDP declined from 64% in 1974 to 56% in 2024, a four-decade grind lower driven by globalization, automation, and the steady erosion of worker bargaining power. In the 4 years since AI began its exponential improvement, that has dropped to 46%, the sharpest decline on record. The output is still there, but it's no longer routing through households on the way back to firms, which means it's no longer routing through the IRS either. The circular flow is breaking, and the government is expected to step in and fix that. As in every downturn, outlays rise just as receipts fall. The difference this time is that the spending pressure is not cyclical. Automatic stabilizers were built for temporary job losses, not structural displacement. The system is paying benefits and assume workers will be reabsorbed. Many will not, at least not at anything like their prior wage. During COVID, the government freely embraced 15% deficits, but it was understood to be temporary. The people who need government support today were not hit by a pandemic they'll recover from. They were replaced by a technology that continues to improve. The government needs to transfer more money to households at precisely the moment it's collecting less money from them in taxes. The U.S. won't default. It prints the currency it spends, the same currency it uses to pay back borrowers. But this stress has shown up elsewhere. Municipal bonds show worrying signs of dispersion in year-to-date performance. States without income tax have been okay, but general obligation munis issued by states dependent on income tax, majority of blue states, began to price in some default risk. Politicos caught on quickly, and the debate over who gets bailed out has fallen along partisan lines. The administration, to its credit, recognized the structural nature of the crisis early and began entertaining bipartisan proposals for what they're calling the Transition Economy Act, a framework for direct transfers to displaced workers funded by a combination of deficit spending and a proposed tax on AI inference compute. The most radical proposal on the table goes further. The Shared AI Prosperity Act would establish a public claim on the returns of the intelligence infrastructure itself, something between a sovereign wealth fund and a royalty on AI-generated output, with dividends funding household transfers. Oh. Private sector lobbyists have flooded the media with warnings about the slippery slope. The politics behind the discussion have been grimly predictable, exacerbated by grandstanding and brinksmanship. The right calls transfers and redistribution Marxism and warns that taxing compute hands the lead to China. The left warns that a tax drafted with the help of incumbents becomes regulatory capture by another name. Fiscal hawks point to unsustainable deficits. Doves point to the premature austerity imposed after the GFC as a cautionary tale. The divide is only magnifying in the run-up to this year's presidential election. While the politicians bicker, the social fabric is fraying faster than the legislative process can move. The Occupy Silicon Valley movement has been emblematic of wider dissatisfaction. That's what we need. Last month, demonstrators, this didn't happen. This is a dream, okay, just so you know. What? Wasn't it the infrastructure? Cloudflare. Yeah, so I just want to know more about that. Because didn't Cloudflare fail before with the whole open, like they had the password 12345 or something stupid like that? Did I just dream that? I probably dreamed that. Blockaded the entrances to Anthropic and OpenAI's San Francisco offices for 3 weeks straight. Their numbers are growing, and the demonstrations have drawn more media coverage than the unemployment data that prompted them. It's hard to imagine the public hating anyone more than the bankers in the fallout of the GFC, but the AI labs are making a run at it. And from the perspective of the masses, for good reason. Their founders and early investors have accumulated wealth at a pace that makes the Gilded Age look tame. The gains from the productivity boom accruing almost entirely to the owners of compute and the shareholders of the labs that ran on it has magnified U.S. inequality to unprecedented levels. Every side has their own villain, but the real villain is time. AI capability is evolving faster than institutions can adapt. The policy response is moving at the pace of ideology, not reality. If the government doesn't agree on what the problem is soon, the feedback loop will write the next chapter for them. For the entirety of modern economic history, human intelligence has been the scarce input. Capital was abundant, or at least replicable. Natural resources were finite, but substitutable. Technology improved slowly enough that humans could adapt. Intelligence, the ability to analyze, decide, create, persuade, and coordinate, was the thing that could not be replicated at scale. Human intelligence derived its inherent premium from its scarcity. Every institution in our economy, from the labor market to the mortgage market to the tax code, was designed for a world in which that assumption held. We are now experiencing the unwind of that premium. Machine intelligence is now a competent and rapidly improving substitute for human intelligence across a growing range of tasks. The financial system, optimized over decades for a world of scarce human minds, is repricing. That repricing is painful, disorderly, and far from complete. But repricing is not the same as collapse. The economy can find a new equilibrium. Getting there is one of the few tasks left that only humans can do. We need to do it correctly. This is the first time in history that the most productive asset in the economy has produced fewer, not more jobs. Nobody's framework fits because none were designed for a world where the scarce input became abundant. So we have to make new frameworks. Whether we build them in time is the only question that matters. But you're not reading this in June 2028. You're reading it in February 2026. The S&P is near all-time highs. The negative feedback loops have not begun. We are certain some of these scenarios won't materialize. We're equally certain that machine intelligence will continue to accelerate. The premium on human intelligence will narrow. As investors, we still have time to assess how much of our portfolios are built upon assumptions that won't survive the decade. As a society, we still have time to be proactive. The canary is still alive. I think this is excellent. I know it's heady and there's a lot of detail in it, but I appreciate the thinking around how agentic AI and the pace at which that we will not be able to catch up and do the right thing by people, right, in its face. That's what I'm worried about. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Oh my gosh. I know there's so much more I want to read to you. I'm just losing steam, but I tell you, I would do 6 more hours of this if I could. There's always stuff we need to talk about. Thank you for indulging me and letting me read through that. I know it was kind of, I got lost a few times, so I can imagine maybe someone else did too. But it's interesting stuff, and I'd like to understand it just a little better. I've never understood economics. Yeah, I've never really understood economics, and it's not that I think, and I appreciate what they said at the end, which is these are not, they're the ghost of Christmas future, and they're just telling us, hey, you know what? These things could come to pass. All right, these things could come to pass, and so let's figure it out. Now, certainly the market was taking it very seriously. Actually, there's one more thing I want to. Bam, 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 bam. Ooh, did I read this whole thing, or did I just? Oh, I've run out of free articles. Fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you very much. Oh, we hate what you do, and we hate your whole crew. So please don't stay in touch. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you very much. 'Cause we hate what you do, we hate your whole crew. Okay, wait a minute. Wait, what was I doing? I wanted to check one more thing. What am I doing? Oh, yeah. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do right now. Research. Oh man, subscribers only. Fuck you. Okay, well I won't read you then. The link Gal sent. Wait, where's Gal? Where's my gal? Where's my gal? Oh yeah, I wanted to read this, right? I'm so sorry. God, thank you. Oh my God, thank you. I would have fucking missed this. because again, I don't have a brain. If I only had a brain, oh, I would wonder why. The Injustice Department withheld and removed some Epstein files related to dump. Oops. Page not found. What? The Justice Department has withheld. I knew it was because I went back in to look for the not Katie Johnson, but the other report where Trump and someone else were outlined in the threat, and I couldn't find it. And I know it's been removed. And I didn't make a weird offline copy of it because I'm stupid, because I didn't think that our government was this corrupt, but apparently they are. The Injustice Department has withheld some Epstein files related to allegations that Dump sexually abused a minor, an NPR investigation finds. It also removed some documents from the public database where accusations against Jeffrey Epstein also mention Trump. Some files have not been made public despite a law mandating their release. This includes what appears to be more than 50 pages of FBI interviews and notes from conversations with a woman who accused Trump of sexual abuse decades ago when she was a minor. NPR reviewed multiple sets of unique serial numbers appearing before and after the pages in question, stamped on documents in the Epstein file database, FBI case records, emails, and discovery document logs in the latest tranche of documents published at the end of January. NPR's investigation found dozens of pages that appear to be cataloged by the Justice Department but not shared publicly. The Justice Department declined to answer questions on the record about the specific files, what's in them, and why they are not published. After publication, the Justice Department reached out to NPR taking issue with how its responses to questions were framed. Justice Department spokeswoman Natalie Baldesser, a great German, reiterated DOJ's stance that any documents not published are because they're privileged, duplicates, or, oh really, duplicates, bitch? Because tons of documents that you released are duplicates, you stupid cunt. Or relate to ongoing federal investigation. And which one is that? Because the only investigation that I can find, and granted, you're not supposed to know about investigations, but the only investigation that's even being whispered about was the SDNY shit that Pamela Joe was trying to do to get Democrats. Okay? Fuck that. Other files scrubbed from public view pertain to a separate woman who was a key witness for the prosecution in the criminal trial of Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, who is serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking. Maxwell is seeking clemency for Trump. Stop sharing stupid, fake pictures of Ghislaine Maxwell in Canada. Stop it. She's not there. Fucking focus. God, I'm so sick of people. And Les Wexner is not the sugar daddy or money guy for Epstein, okay? They were fucking partners. And we don't know the extent of the relationship and who was in the driver's seat. So shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. And you don't read anything. Oh, wait. Did I say that out loud? That was probably in my head that I should have kept that. God, the fucking hacks on this site. And I'm a hack, okay? I don't know what I'm fucking talking about. I don't know everything. That's why I read all this shit, is because I don't know. And so if you are someone taking advantage of the Epstein case and doing a fucking daily show on it and buying your subs and buying your views, and in addition to that, sitting there like a motherfucker, not saying anything about the context or anything about what you're showing people, and do no research whatsoever on who any of these people are, but sit there and go, oh yeah, Les Wexner was the sugar daddy of Epstein. Yeah, he was financing the whole operation. What the fuck? No. Yeah, they found a woman that named Ghislaine in Quebec. Yeah, right. What's the chances? I mean, it's just so dumb. I'm sorry. And stop doing it, because this is what they want. And everybody's like, but I'm just a little angry about that. That's okay. But you know what? We got 17 viewers, so we're doing fine. I'm not buying anything. I'm not buying subs. I'll tell you that right now. Okay? But some people are. Other files scrubbed from public view pertain. Oh, that's right. I did that. Some of those documents were briefly taken down and put back online last week, while others remain hidden, according to NPR's comparison of the initial dataset from January 30th with document metadata of those files currently on the Justice Department website. That's amazing. NPR does not name victims of sexual abuse. When asked for a comment about the missing pages and the accusations against the president, a White House spokeswoman told NPR that Trump has done more for Epstein's victims than anyone before. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have a heart attack. Really? Okay, girl. All right, sweetie. All right. Just as President... Wait, here we go.
Are you ready for this? Yeah. Hey, I'm a White House spokeswoman, Abigail Jackson. People call me Abby. Abby Jack. That's what they call me. Abby Jack. And just as President Trump has said, he's been totally exonerated on anything related to Epstein. Anything. Yeah, but has done more to victims than anyone before him. And that's saying something, okay? It's not easy. And by releasing thousands of pages of documents and then taking some back and then maybe putting some back up, I don't know. Cooperating with the House Oversight Committee subpoena request. Really? Signing the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Wait, is he coming? Wait. Is he going to appear before the Oversight Committee? Is that what he's saying? And calling for more investigations into Epstein's Democrat. Oh, he's saying it's good that he allowed them to subpoena the Clintons. That's what it is. He's like, look at how nice I am. I let you subpoena the Clintons. Hello? Don't I get a prize? Where's my prize? Where's my prize? Money, please. Money, please. Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, Democrats... Oh, here we go. She's really going on. Oh, boy. President Trump has done more to Epstein's victims than anyone before him. Meanwhile, Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries, I don't know what he has to do with anything. Oh, he got money. Stacey Plaskett have yet to explain why they were soliciting money in meetings. Oh, okay, well, let's have a talk about that. Okay, let's have a talk about that, Abby Jack. Hey, Abby Jack. Let's have a little talk about that. Because you know who else got money from him after he was a convicted sex offender? Do you want to know who else? Yeah, Howard Nutlicker! Howard Nutlicker got money from Epstein after he was convicted of sexual abuse. In fact, he made this huge donation to a thing in honor of Howard Nutlicker. Okay? Okay? So stop it. This isn't a political story. It's a story of power and abuse. Yeah.
Sorry. There's a lot of extended baby voice. Sorry about that. She talked a lot, Abby Jack. The White House has previously pointed to a statement from the Justice Department that says that the Epstein files contain untrue and sensationalist claims about the president, but they're all true about the other people. That's right. Oh my God. Are people this dumb? I guess they are. In a letter to members of Congress on February 14th, Valentine's Day, it wasn't a Valentine though, first reported by Politico, Attorney General Pamela Joe and Deputy Attorney General Turd Blanche insist that no records were withheld or redacted because they don't even have to say anything, okay? They don't even have to tell the truth. They can sit there and say, no, we didn't. We didn't withhold anything. What are you going to do? Sue me? What are you going to do? Make me come in front of Congress so I can tell you about that time you stole a donut from the donut shop? Jesus. I don't know how you steal a donut from a donut shop because, frankly, they're in a case, but just go with me on this one, okay? Just stay with me on this one. Oh my God. On the basis of no, we didn't do it. In the last 2 weeks, as lawmakers have begun to view unredacted copies of the Epstein files, which are still redacted or unredacted with victims' names, I don't know. Members of both parties have criticized the way the Trump administration has handled the release of the files. Well, okay, that's great. They have also continued to accuse the Justice Department of violating the law and operating without transparency and redacting. Okay, and here's the other thing. I'm going to tell, I know you hate the baby voice, Max. Okay, I understand. I understand. I'm sorry you hate the baby voice. I don't do it all the time, so just mute me when I put the baby voice on. Here's the other thing. What was I going to say? Wait, baby voice. Yeah, the baby voice is for the people who. But I understand it could get annoying. I'm not disagreeing at all. But I do find it funny. It's okay. I know. Sorry, Max. It's all right. I understand, and I appreciate that you have to tell us that. But what I wanted to say, ouch, was, okay. Oh, here's the thing. I'm going to go back to what Bassem Youssef said, the comedian from Egypt and the guy that was giving Alan Dershowitz his left nut. What Bassem Youssef said is, this is not a goddamn TikTok challenge. Right? The Epstein files are not release them into the ether and all the internet researchers and the people sitting in their basement, you know, the sitting in their basement, they, oh, now it's on. Now it's on. Who doesn't like Carol Baker movies? Come on now. I love them. You're crazy. You're crazy. This is not a TikTok challenge. This is not like something where you throw it out to the ether and then everybody has to figure out what happened. And the fact that Pamela Joe has not committed to the fact that there are investigations, I'm really hoping, and I know it's not going to happen, so don't come for me. I tell you right now that the arrests that are happening in the UK, and that's turning into an espionage case. Okay, that's not. That's an espionage case. That has, you know, the sex is probably going to come out, or excuse me, the rape and the power plays are going to come out, the trafficking. But what they're going in on is the sharing of intel between Mandelson and Epstein. What's the other guy? Andrew and Epstein, is that they traded secrets. Okay. So I hope that the pressure that the UK in particular is putting on the Epstein files and actually taking the time to review them and then bring criminal charges accordingly. I hope that creates a pressure that even this administration cannot ignore. I don't hold out much hope, but I sincerely think that that's where this is headed. Uh-oh, what happened? Here we go. I hate baby voices for us cat lovers. Some people like Carol Baker movies and some don't. I like Carol Baker movies. Didn't Ariana Grande steal a donut? I don't know. How do you steal a donut? How do you steal a donut? Oh, Griffey. All I said was some doing something. You're not picking sides. It's fine. It's fine. Almost as much as a fart sound. Jen, I tried to say, oh, YouTube doesn't like you, Neil. It must be an anti-Canada thing. I don't know. YouTube. Fuck YouTube. Let's see. Okay. First woman accuses Trump of sexual abuse. According to the newly released files, the FBI internally circulated Epstein-related allegations that mentioned dump in late July and early August 2025. The list, collected from the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, included numerous salacious allegations. Agents marked most of the accusations as unverifiable or not credible. I want to see all the fucking investigatory materials. But one lead was sent to the FBI's Washington office with the purpose of setting up an interview with the accuser. The lead was included in an internal PowerPoint slide deck detailing prominent names in the Epstein and Maxwell investigations last fall. This is really interesting. The woman who directly named Trump in her abuse allegation claimed that around 1983, when she was around 13 years old, Epstein introduced her to Trump, who, quote, subsequently forced her head down to his exposed thing, which she subsequently bit. In response, Trump punched her in the head and kicked her out, end quote. Out of more than 3 million pages released by the Justice Department in recent months, this specific allegation against Trump only appears in copies of the FBI list of claims and the DOJ slideshow. But a review of FBI case file logs and discovery documents turned over to Maxwell and her attorneys in the criminal case against her point to one place the claim could have come from and how serious investigators took it. The FBI interviewed this Trump and Epstein accuser 4 times. That is according to the FBI serial report and a list of non-testifying witness material in the Maxwell case that were also released under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Only the first interview, conducted July 24, 2019, is in the public database. That interview does not mention Trump. Of the 15 documents listed in a log of the Maxwell discovery material for this first accuser, only 7 are in the Epstein Files database. Those missing also include notes that accompany 3 of the interviews. The discrepancy in the file for the Trump accuser was first reported by independent journalist Roger Sollenberger. According to NPR's review of 3 different sets of serial numbers stamped onto the files, there appear to be 53 pages of interview documents and notes missing from the public Epstein database. It's the tapes. Gaps in serial numbers suggest more than 50 pages of documents haven't been published publicly. Oops. In the first interview document, the woman discusses ways Epstein abused her as a girl, and in identifying him to investigators, showed a crop photo of the disgraced financier. Her attorney said it was cropped because she was concerned about implicating additional individuals, specifically any that were well known, due to fear of retaliation. The FBI agents noted it was a widely distributed photograph of Epstein with Trump. A woman whose biographical details and description of Epstein's abuse found in the FBI interview also line up with details from a victim lawsuit. The December 2019 filing, Jane Doe 4, does not mention Trump, and the woman voluntarily dismissed her claims against Epstein's estate in December 2021. Attorneys for this accuser declined to comment. Elsewhere in the released Epstein files, someone in the FBI wrote on July 22, 2025, before the list and slide presentation were compiled, that Trump's name was in the larger case files and that that one identified victim claimed abuse by Trump, but ultimately refused to cooperate. Yeah, because people end up dead. Hello. The other woman whose mention of Trump made the DOJ's presentation appears in Maxwell Discovery Files released last month in what's known as a Testifying Witness 3500 material list. In the first interview of 6 with the FBI conducted between September 2019 and September 2021, the second woman detailed how Epstein and Maxwell's abuse began when she was around 13, attending the Interlochen Center for the Arts, and described how at one point Epstein took her to Trump's Mar-a-Lago club to meet him. Epstein told Trump, "This is a good one, huh?" the interview report reads. In a 2020 lawsuit against Epstein's estate and Maxwell, the second woman added that both men chuckled and she felt uncomfortable, but at the time was too young to understand why. That interview was removed from the DOJ's public files sometime after the initial publication on January 30th and was republished February 19th, according to document metadata. The Injustice Department told NPR the only reason any file has been temporarily removed because it had been flagged by a victim or their counsel for additional review. Multiple FBI interviews with other people refer to the second woman's meeting with Trump while she was a minor and being abused by Epstein. One interview with a fleeting mention of Trump was removed from the public database and subsequently restored last week, while another interview with the woman's mother is still offline. After publication, the Justice Department said the file required additional redactions and will be reposted soon. In that conversation, the mother recalled hearing that, quote, a prince and Donald Trump visited Epstein's house, which made her think that if they are there, then how could Epstein be a criminal, according to NPR's copy of the file that was first published. The possible omission of files that mention these women's particular allegations against the president come as the Justice Department has warned about other documents it has published in full that includes what it calls untrue and sensationalist claims about Trump. At the same time, the Injustice Department has removed and re-uploaded thousands of pages in recent weeks to fix improperly redacted victim names That includes documents related to the allegations from these two women who separately say they were around 13 years old when Epstein first abused them. Robert Glassman, who represents the woman who testified against Maxwell, sharply criticized the Justice Department's handling of the Epstein files. This whole thing is ridiculous, he told NPR. The DOJ was ordered to release information to the public to be transparent about Epstein and Maxwell's criminal enterprise network. Instead, they released the names of courageous victims who have fought hard for decades to remain anonymous and out of the limelight. Whether the disclosures were inadvertent or not, they had one job to do here, and they didn't do it. A DOJ spokesperson told NPR that the department is, quote, working around the clock to address concerns from victims. They've only had a year and a couple months, and handle additional redactions of personally identifiable information that have been flagged. In view of congressional deadline, all reasonable efforts have been made. What? To review and redact personal information pertaining to victims and other private individuals and protect sensitive materials from disclosure, the statement read. That said, because of the volume of information involved, this website may nevertheless contain information that inadvertently includes non-public personally identifiable information or other sensitive content to include matters of a sexual nature. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you, Gal, for that. Thank you so much. Oh my God, we can't have anything nice. I really want these survivors to get some form of justice. And the fact that we're just sitting on our hands and we've got people who are completely complicit. Oh, they did? Oh, good. Oh, USA Women's Hockey Team, who did turn down the president. And I'm very happy. Thank you, USA Women's Hockey. You really made me proud. Now I'm proud of you, girls. USA Women's Hockey Team has accepted an invite from Flavor Flav to come celebrate their win. The guy keeps, I know, I love Flavor Flav. He did. He helped the women's polo. I'm telling you, he's so cool. He's so cute. He's like cheering them on. And I just think that's great. That certainly gets my spirit up. He raises my spirit. Flavor Flav. Who knew Flavor Flav would save us? Flavor Flav. I don't have a Flavor Flav song otherwise. I don't know. Yeah, the clock. He's wearing the big clock. Oh my God, that is what we gotta do today. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. This show was like all over the place again. Maybe someday, sometimes I get it where I line things up really well. The reality show. Yeah, I thought he was problematic, but I guess it turns out that it's better than Snoop. Yeah, better than Snoop. Oh, and I also want to say, I don't know, is Wiz Khalifa problematic? I hope not, because I really love Wiz Khalifa, and he has a show on Twitch. He just fires up his live on Twitch and is in the studio recording, and a bunch of people are hanging out, and he's smoking a fuck ton of weed. I mean, the smoke in that room. I want to hang out. Okay, Wiz Khalifa, I think you should have Lolo hang out in your studio and just smoke a bunch of weed. I think I could make you laugh. So I'm just saying, Wiz Khalifa, hit me up. I know you live close, or not close, but I know you live in Los Angeles, or I think you do. So if that studio where you're smoking weed and making music exists in Los Angeles, I want to hang out with you. I hope you think so too. I love his Twitch show. I don't even, he's sitting there just like recording music or like putting little beats down, smoking a bunch of weed. I love it. Beautiful lighting, but smoke just looks like heaven. Like I would love that, just to sit in a music studio, a fucking production studio. I'm not doing that, but you know what I mean? Like that would just be like, I would be totally down. I don't think he wants a grandma sitting in his like den of fun, but if you need a grandma with a quick wit sometimes and a bad memory. Jane, I just met with a financial advisor and had wake and bake in my ear. Wiz Khalifa was charged for smoking. Okay, great. That's fine. I don't think Wiz Khalifa has any problematic stuff in his, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I love Wiz Khalifa. I love Fetty Wap. I think he might have some problems. I don't know. My number one artist the last few years, actually not last year, but a couple of years before that, is Migos. So I'm a big Migos fan. I'm very sad about the loss of one of the Migos band members. But anyway, you don't need to know that. I thought Flavor Flav was a drink mix. No, it's a rap star. He's a rap star. Romanian jail time. Holy shit. That's rough. I wouldn't want to spend time in a Romanian jail, that's for sure. Oh, he did. Oh, okay. I don't know. That's fine. Drug offenses, I don't give a shit about that. I just don't want you to be mean to women or mean to people in the LGBTQ community or any of that. Or just like ice. I don't want you to like ice, that kind of stuff. Flavor Flav, the flavor of all flavors, onion and garlic French fried potatoes. That's Flavor Aid, yeah. Yeah, that is not Flavor Flav the singer. All right, my friends, I've taken up 4 hours of your day. Oh my God. And guess what? I'm going to take up more tonight. That's right. I'm being back tonight. We're not going to do a documentary because we're going to live the documentary tonight, unfortunately. I want to shout out my amazing streamer colleague, Live TV 2, who is going to stream the SODU, and then we will restream his show, and I will make sure that that has all kinds of links for him because I really, 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 really appreciate this. And so we'll stream tonight. And I'll figure out what time. I don't know what time. What time does everything start? I don't even know. 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 I think it's, I don't know what time it is. Anyway, I'll figure it out. I'll put up a little placeholder and, oh, I can't send it on Blue Sky because I'm blocked. But I'll share the thing in Discord, and then maybe someone who has access to Blue Sky, if you share the upcoming show for the SODU tonight, that would be great, since I can't, since I'm in trouble, because I told, all because I just was, is it usually like 9 or 6 p.m. Pacific? Yeah, probably about 5 p.m. Pacific I'll go. I don't know, 5:30. I don't know, we'll see. But I will definitely be live tonight. And really grateful to our friend TV2 for showing it. It takes a nation of millions to hold us back. Oh, okay. Ouch. It starts at 1776. Good one, Griffey. Good one. Yes, thank you, Max. Let's see. Oh yeah. So tonight, please come and hang out with us. And we'll just try and get through it. I don't know. We'll just work. We'll try. We'll try. But look for the notice on Discord or just the notice on my YouTube page. There'll be a thing there. So I hope I see you tonight. If I don't, I hope I see you tomorrow morning, same time, same bat channel, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. Everything inside and outside of that. I will be live. And then I'll be live tonight. Anyway, so I hope to see you for either or both of those. Thank you so much. Protect Uranus. Oh, I will. Yes, Josh, we can make bingo cards. I actually have bingo cards from lots of other things. Like I think the SODU, like a couple of years, this last term. Anyway, it's a thing. All right, we've got bingo cards. All right, I love you guys. Have a really, really wonderful day. Thank you so much for coming. And being just really, really smart motherfucking people. I really appreciate you. Big hearts and smarts. I don't even know how you do it, but you do. Okay. I'm a huge fan of transgender for everyone. I think that should be part of the next fucking Democrat platform. How about that? How about them apples, right? God damn it. Uplift our friends and family in the transgender community, y'all. Stop being such dicks. I love you guys.